Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Caught us there, just getting a little prepped. We'll do it live. Here we are doing it live. Um, Welcome to Club Stars Line, everyone. It's been a minute since our last one, as it always is. It's a monthly show, so that makes sense. I am one of your hosts, Jake Leach, and my mom, the resident astrologer, Denise Hewlett, is here as always. Hello, Mom. How are you this evening?
Hello, son. I'm doing well. Good to see you across the country.
Yes, likewise.
Yes.
Yes, as you see, and we've mentioned before, my mom is in the West Coast in LA. I'm here in Chicago where it is very dark. So I must have my light, and you've got plenty of natural light working. So we'll watch the sun go down
Mhm.
for you, Mom. Um, it's Virgo season,
Yeah.
everyone. That was so fast. I saw there's this Twitter account called it's like 2021 progress bar, and it like shows how far along like a loading bar that like the year has gone by. And I think the last one I saw it was said 2021 is 66% done.
Oh, can
Just
you
like
believe it?
we
Yeah.
just got here.
I
What are
know.
you talking about?
We were just discussing before the show with our producer Rick that we have 3 shows left. We committed to a full year of astrology shows, and this is the fourth, and then 3 more after that. So,
I just
yeah.
well, and I mean beyond this moving super fast, it also feels like stuff of the past seems so long ago at the same time. Like I was reminded of I guess it was like my birthday of 2019. And like the way I thought about it was like, oh, that was my birthday. That's what I did in 2017. It's like, no, that was or no, my friend graduated from college and I was like, oh yeah, that was like 2017, right? And she's like, no, that was spring 2019. I was like, that's insane.
I know.
That was so long ago, it feels like. So anyway, time moves quite fast and slow. And here we are, just starting
Yes.
off with some existential dread right out the gate, as
Well,
people tend
and,
to.
and Jake, that's kind of perfect for Virgo because Virgos are known to be analytical.
I see. Look at
Sometimes they
that.
worry themselves, perhaps sick.
Well,
So it's okay. It's okay to go down that rabbit hole. It's all right. We're shifting gears from Leo into a slower roll into Virgo. So yes.
yeah. Well, and I think is something that if anyone who hasn't seen me in a month, and the last time you saw me for some reason was our Leo show. I didn't realize, unbeknownst to me, that my haircuts have followed the energy of the 2 seasons. In Leo, I had a big mane of hair with my I was rocking a I was bemulleted at the time. I had quite the mullet going, and now I'm demulleted now with
Oh,
my shaved head because it's
yeah.
just I probably
Yeah.
should have done it early in the year, but it
You,
felt
you know
right
what,
to
Jake?
finally
You
do it.
went from, all that maintenance of your mane,
Hmm.
right? To now you're just going to, this easy no
Yes,
maintenance,
right.
practical buzzed head. Doesn't get more
Very.
practical. Virgo's very practical, very
That's
down to
right.
earth. You are who you are.
That's right. So, and I don't think I have any Virgo in my chart, right?
I don't think
As
so,
far as
Jake.
you know.
Nope.
Interesting.
Nope. So, yeah. So,
Interesting. Well, everyone, welcome to Virgo. This is Club Stars Align on the travel agency. We love to see you. I mean, where do we start, Mom? Should we
well,
just hop in here? What are you thinking?
yeah, we were talking about we're always like, where are we checking in? And we mentioned during Leo season that I was in Los Angeles, and we've mentioned that Los Angeles is a Virgo city. So how perfect is it? Last month we were in, we talked about you being in Chicago, which is Leo city. So what's kind of cool about Los Angeles? There we have it. Los Angeles being a Virgo city is it's also uh, similar to Paris, and that it's very much like the height of couture. Now,
Mm,
New York is a Capricorn city, and it's very much fashion too. But it's everybody wears dark clothes, and it's very that kind of. Los Angeles is the West Coast fashion capital basically.
right.
So you've got that, and we were talking about, well, what makes Virgo fashion? Well, what makes Virgo fashion is the attention to detail. If you're wearing a dress to the Emmys or Grammys and there's 1,000 beads on it, somebody had to sew those. All that detail and the makeup and the whole thing. It's Leo glam, but it's the details. It's Virgo that makes it happen. All
Yeah.
those kinds of things. The other interesting thing is that Virgo is ruled by Mercury, which is the god of communication. And what's one of the big things that you hear about with celebrities is gossip. They're always,
Mm.
what's the scoop, So that's that, if you were thinking like, what the heck, how is LA a Virgo city? When you look at fashion and when you look at the communication, how all the buzz, that's where the Mercury ruled Earth sign comes in.
Oh, for sure. Well, and we'll pop up a image here when we have a second. Shout out to our producer Rick. We got our LA skyline right there, just in case you guys forgot what LA looks like. Um, but yeah, like I mean, as far as like getting things done, there's a lot to keep Holly weird afloat, you might say. So
Mm-hmm.
it kind of makes sense that there's a lot of moving and driving going on there.
Yeah.
And just for the record, I don't have a picture of New York City, but New York City is an Aries city, correct?
Um,
I think that's
let's
what you
see.
said.
Was it I think it's either a Capricorn state or an Aries. We'll have to look it up. I sent it to you the other
Okay.
day, but
Yeah.
I did want to say that LA's birthday is this Saturday, September 4th, the same day as our
Oh,
celebrity that we're going to talk about here in a minute. So kind of perfect that she lives here too. And just the
interesting.
dichotomy that California is a Pisces state and Los Angeles is a Virgo city. So there's the concept of making your dreams, which is Pisces, come
Yeah.
true in Virgo. The symbiotic
Interesting.
relationship between those two. So we'll get more into that later. So.
Gotcha.
We also want to talk
Well,
about where the rest of our crew is. Everybody's been
yes.
moving and shaking. So, speaking of me
Yeah.
being in
So
LA, someone else we know is in LA right now for
uh,
the foreseeable future.
our boy Rick. Hello, Rick.
Yes.
Shout out to the boy. He is living in LA now
He's living in
with his
Hollywood
darling
proper,
partner.
people. So that picture, he's for real. I'm up in the
Oh yeah.
hills. He's
No,
down in it.
no, it's real deal. Um, and an additional to that, our faithful Allie is moving to New York City as of apparently tomorrow. Not to
Yeah.
dox her or anything, but uh,
Yeah, we'll be bi-coastal our
oops.
whole well, we already
But yes,
were,
we've
but
got a lot of moving and shaking that our crews are partaking in. So, and as well as our DJ Mixrich, she's up here in Chicago. She is away still at the moment, but we will be having her hopefully by next time.
yeah.
It's been so chaotically busy for everyone, and
Everybody's been moving. Literally
it's
all
crazy, like
four of the
literally moving and
four of
shaking.
the
So
five yeah, four of the five crew members moved.
yeah,
How crazy is
so
that? Yeah.
the fact that we're bringing this to you anyway is our dedication to you. We're going to make sure we get it to you, no matter the cost, no matter the expense, no matter the mental toll. Um, Rick here in the chat says, hi, LA Rick here. So you guys have a question for Rick, let him, ask him away how he feels in that Virgo city. You can do that. So
Yeah. So far, so good.
we're, so our crew's hanging out, doing their thing.
All right.
So,
Well, Jake, we usually talk about the drink. We always try to like go with the theme.
yes.
So, uh,
Well,
go on.
I I have mine ready. As you can see, I'm wearing a collared shirt because, gotta keep it clean
It's,
always,
mm-hmm.
regardless. What
Look,
Rick says, when is Jake moving? I moved 2 years ago. Okay. You people, I'm done moving.
well,
I'm saying
Jake, it's
we
a
like
bad.
re-upped the lease in this apartment. Like, I'm good. I don't need to
Oh,
go anywhere.
we're pulling
Unless
on you to come west, and I know you like to go east. You'd like to go, but we'll see. We'll see. Who knows? Who
I'm
knows?
I'm a rambling man. What can I say? I go where the tides take me as
Mm-hmm.
a mutable water sign, as a Pisces. So you
There
never
you have
know
it.
what's going to be for me. But yeah, no, I mean, there's a really good case being made for
Okay.
LA specifically, I got to say. Pacifically. Anyway, so yes, so we are drinking this evening as I'm dressing up neat. This evening I am drinking whiskey neat. And yes, this is an insane amount of it. This will be nursed all night and probably thrown away at this point. So no one judge me. But that's what I'm rocking with that theme of Virgo is the neatness of
Uh-huh.
that's required to meet
Right.
the
They're
demand.
known for being clean, clean freaks. Da, 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 I said cleanliness is next to godliness, and it rules the success of service. The opposite is Pisces, which is the other end of that. So, Jake, as a Pisces, you're doing your job by drinking that neatly.
Is Virgo my sister sign?
It's your polarity. It's your opposite.
That's
Yeah.
my opposite sign.
It's the
Interesting.
mutable Virgo is mutable earth and you are mutable water. And he's gonna come up multiple times
Oh,
during the show tonight. So there's a kinship.
interesting.
Yeah. Like where we
Because
had
I
said
do,
that, yeah.
yeah. I
Well, we
just
say
feel like
that
Virgos, I get it. Certain
you
things. I mean, there's definitely things I'm not very Virgo about. But when it comes to like doing dishes, I mean, I've probably talked about this a lot on the
Mhm.
stream, but like,
You
man,
do.
I love doing the dishes,
And you know
which
what
I mean, of
happens
course, involves water, but
is what helps balance you is if you are too much in one end of the sign, when you go do things that the other sign does, it balances you
yeah.
out. So Jake, if you're a little stressed and
Mm.
sensitive, you go put your hands in the
Yeah.
water sign, right? And you clean things, which makes you feel productive.
Oh,
So it
so
goes from being
productive.
dreams to accomplishing something.
I mean, it's crazy. Well, and it's true. Like, I mean, like, I think even beyond that, there's like the like task that shows your progress as it's done. It's like
Hmm.
mowing the lawn. Oh my
Yes.
god, I love mowing the lawn so much. Although, of course, Mom, I feel like I began loving that after I left your home.
Oh, let us remember the arguments and the yes, exactly. I
I
think
know.
it was the
Okay,
noise, Jake. I
for
think it was your sensory issues of things being too loud and it was just bothering
okay,
you.
first of all, I don't have sensory issues. I
It's
have
audio.
sensory interests. Thank you. I am particularly
Oh,
okay. Also, let's be real, Mom. The lawnmower that was provided for me for a long time was a rusty ass manual one, not even electric or let alone gas. It was manual.
please.
The old like,
I don't know. Whatever.
salad spinner basically one because that's what it was doing. It was just
Let's
spinning
spin her.
grass around. It didn't actually
Yeah.
chop at all.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
little airing of grievance here,
Right. Exactly. But it's
familial
funny
grievance.
about the audio
Yes.
thing, Jake, because what I want to get to is the thing about Pisces is they're considered sensitive, right? They pick up vibes. Well, the same thing
Yeah.
happens with Virgos, but they're in the material world. So they people sometimes say they're critical, but they're sensitive too, and they pick things. They can pick up on things. They
Mm,
might say they're nitpicky, but it's the same thing. It's just that it's the physical version of it. You know, so they might
yeah.
pick a piece of lint off of your shirt because they care and they don't want you to have your tag sticking out or whatever the heck it is. You might be like, oh, whatever, but it's because they care about your tag sticking out or the lint on your shirt. Get what I'm saying? Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Because
just
I
remember,
do feel like when people do that, that are not necessarily even Virgos, I'm like, can you like get away from me? Like stop. Like don't. I'll deal with
it's
it.
you.
But then I'm also like, well, but they're helping, which is nice. But then I wonder if that's like the polarity of me feeling Virgo-ish, where it's like I'm always aware of everything that's
Oh,
happening. So it's like I was gonna get to it, but it's like clearly there's
yeah,
I can't see the back of my shirt. I can't see if I have like an eye junk, whatever,
yeah,
like
yeah.
you
They're helping you.
gotta accept some help, and then that's why I feel
Right.
like I very quickly go to like
Right. And that's
thank
what I
you.
want to get
Thank
back
you
to.
very much.
People, we like to say how some people just rag on certain signs, and Virgos get a bad rap for being picky, critical, neat, tidy, and all these other things. And we're going to talk about it, but it's all comes from a point of service. They really want to help.
Yes.
So anyway, we're
They're
we're getting
doers.
so, yes, they're
They're
doers.
doers. They're very
Okay,
pro.
so Jake, so you were drinking things neat. So we talked about that part. Okay,
Yes.
I'm talking about. So I've got my mango cart. I talked about this last month. It's from Golden Road Brewing, right? And this
Hmm.
mango cart is a little guy who's pushing a fruit cart down the street with an umbrella. I don't know if you can see this. Let's see. Uh, there we go.
There you go. Yep.
Did you see
Yep.
it?
I did. Yes.
That's hard
There
work,
we go.
people. That's Virgo right there. The hardest workers, in the solar system. You know, peeling the fruit, making it. I mean, they obviously didn't make this, but that's what this is to. Is what I mean? The vendor, the street vendor, the
The
person who's
metaphor
working.
is not lost on us. No, we get it
Yeah.
for
So
sure.
anyway, cheers to the Virgos, the hardworking, neat freaks of the zodiac.
Yeah, you freaks. There you
Yes,
go.
and also that it is a Los Angeles beer. So
Mm. Well, maybe we need to get some. What's the brewing company called again?
it's called Golden Road Brewing.
Maybe we need to talk to a little sponsor.
Yeah,
I mean, you
yeah.
drink enough of it. I mean, it's right there. I mean, it's crushable,
It's
as we
so
often talk
crushable.
about
It's
on this
ridiculously
channel.
crushable. And I got
It
another one. I got another one on
in
tap,
morning in
just chilling right here on ice because I didn't want to have to interrupt ourselves.
yeah,
So yeah. Okay, so we've got that. So we've talked about where we're at, what we're drinking. We're getting teed up
yes.
now to like hit
What we're
our
sipping on. Mm-hmm.
yes, hit our high points because this is an educational program as well
Yes.
as
Now we
being
need to get
picky.
back to the
Our info
educational programming for
yes, our
sure.
infotainment here, right?
Yeah,
So okay,
precisely.
all right. So shall we go with the
So
dates? Mhm.
yes, so the dates of Virgo are August 22nd to September 22nd.
Mhm.
Which is so funny because I'd always considered all of August to be very Leo. Like,
Mhm.
I guess like there's people that I know that have had birthdays in the end of August,
Hmm.
And then when I was getting to know astrology, I was like, oh, it makes so much sense. They're like totally Leos. Like I know who they are. But then finding out that everyone after the 22nd,
Hmm.
like I had some friends that were like, near like the 29th, 30th, 31st. I'm like, oh, they're Virgos. But well, Mom, I'm curious on that. Like when
Yeah.
it switches like that, there's got to be. I feel like people who have, there's obviously literally like people who are cusp dates.
Hmm.
Like so someone born on the 22nd. Is there sort of like in astrology worlds where like there's X amount of days outside of either end, like when it goes into the next one, that there's still some of that reminiscent energy of the previous one?
Well, what's interesting, and you're going to see it in the charts we do today, and you've seen it in charts we've done before, is that, like, for example, when we were in Leo season, Mars and Venus were already in Virgo. Even though it was Leo season,
Hmm.
the other planets had moved ahead. So now that we're in Virgo season, you're going to see in our celebrity chart, yeah, she's a Virgo, but she's got a whole string of Libra because that's the next one in her chart.
No one
So
after.
that's what I'm saying. When you were saying,
Interesting.
like, oh, these people seem like Leos, yeah, yeah, they're Virgos, but they still have a lot of Leo energy left over because that stuff spills over. Nothing's a clean slate. Everything's evolving. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you're out where all of our charts, and if there's a big takeaway, is that we all have a little bit of everything in our chart. So you're not just your sun sign, which is the day you were born. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Because yeah,
yeah.
I think that there's some natural lingerings, echoes, reverberations from the previous sign that would
Mhm.
naturally
Yeah.
kind of go
Well,
go a little bit into it.
and you're leading a perfect point is that they often say the sign that comes after the next sign, whatever, is oftentimes a correction to whatever happened. So, for example, the excesses of summer. If you've been partying all summer, it's time to
Oh
get
yeah.
down to earth. Literally, we
Oh
got to
yeah.
go back to school, chill out, get back into a routine, get
Well.
organized. All Virgo stuff. Party's over.
Well.
The summer's over. You know.
Well, and I feel like so many people too that like do the enjoy Leo. I feel like even Leos are like, okay, I'm done. Like I need a break. Like stop looking at me, get your energy away from me. And like I have friends, especially like fire sign friends that are like so freaking ready for, to go from Cancer to Leo, right?
Cancer to
Is that
Leo. Very good.
Cancer
Hmm.
Leo? So Cancer is like, you're in your emotions, everyone says is a crybaby energy. And then to Leo is like I think the very opposite. So it's like very like like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm just here. Woe is me. Hello.
Yeah.
Uh,
Confident. Yeah. Yeah.
confident though. We're getting a boost. But then it's like you can't stay at the party for too long. After a while,
Right.
you're like,
Somebody's got to clean up after the party,
yeah,
Jake.
someone's
Who
got to
doesn't want
clean this shit up real quick.
yeah, you don't really want to live with beer cans everywhere and da da da.
No,
You want to just like, yeah.
you can't. You gotta make
Well,
your bed.
oh
Yeah.
my God, Jake, you just literally teed it up for me once again. So your
What
mother
can I
is a Gen
say?
Xer, right?
Okay.
My parents, your grandparents, were the Pluto and Leo generation. They partied, sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Mm.
To the Gen Xers, which is me, are Pluto and Virgo, and they had to clean up their act. And they were very much known for saving
Mm.
the earth and recycling and organic food and the grunge. They went from being fabulous, and fiery to down to earth, plaid, flannel, Pacific. You
Wow.
don't need like it was. That's the correction to Pluto and Virgo. You
That
know,
makes a lot of sense.
isn't
Wait,
that
so then
crazy?
what's millennial then?
Some of you are Pluto in Scorpio, so that's a whole other thing we're going to get into.
Oh
So,
my god.
so there's the Libras before you. But see, I know you better, but there's in between is Pluto in uh, Virgo, Libra. So, I missed a chunk because you guys are my kids. So you guys are Pluto and Scorpio. So I know your stuff. I kind of missed, I don't know a lot of people born in the 80s. I know my 90s people because of you.
Yeah,
So
so okay, well we'll have to get into that
we'll get
another
into that
time, I
later. But I
guess,
just
I
want to say Pluto
suppose.
and
But
Virgo,
because I
you've
have a
been,
lot of questions about that. That's really
yeah.
interesting.
And it's generational because Pluto's it takes a longer time to go through. But what I want to say is that was a perfect way to explain how big generations of people act in certain ways based on signs. So it's the
Totally.
correction concept. So yeah,
Interesting.
so cool. So yeah,
Um, and just so sorry to vent off this other corner. So Gen Z, what is their Pluto sign then? If you happen to know that offhand.
Sagittarius. Yeah, because it goes Scorpio then Sagittarius. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Gen is
Interesting.
your brother's just at the beginning, and he's 1996, just at the beginning of Pluto and Sagittarius.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. We'll get into
Interesting. That's a
we'll
big
do a
shift from
whole
Scorpio to
show.
Sagittarius. That's a big jump.
We have a
That
lot
makes
to
a lot of sense.
okay,
A lot to get in there.
More shows we
Yeah,
need to
so everyone tune in. We've got actually all of those months left. We have to
right.
talk about Libra and Scorpio, and so we
Yeah,
actually
we'll talk
have
about
those
it.
to literally look forward to. What's kind of perfect timing.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so yes, so we've got uh, so Virgo, like save the earth, recycling, organic food, like kombucha. I feel like a lot of that stuff has lingered certainly into now, and
Yeah.
like as a culture, like it seems to me like especially that if we are a Scorpio space now with millennials and like our feelings with it, like we feel stuff so deeply. Whereas like
Mhm.
that was like getting back to business. This is like a like sort of a cycle of like feeling again, I
Yeah.
guess. So it
Yes.
makes sense. I wonder if Gen Xers then feel particularly uh
Well,
strident and good in Virgo season because they're a Virgo generation.
Well, real quick, I will say just like so you guys so we got Pluto and Libra is about relationships. After Virgo, then relationships. So that was the 80s people. You guys in the 90s, Pluto and Scorpio's transformation. You went through major transformations. The birth of the internet changed our whole worlds, everything. You
Mm,
guys have been through so much change in the last 24. So then after that becomes Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is what's it all about? Philosophy. What are we doing here? What's the greater good? What
mm,
are that kind of stuff. Travel, all these other kinds of things. So we can touch on it. That was okay to go there because I think people get the idea of these bigger 20-year things.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, Mom, as a Gen Xer, are you feeling particularly motivated in Virgo season as a Virgo generation?
oh, that's interesting. I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I watch my Pluto all the time. Pluto's a big deal, you guys. I know we're not supposed to be getting off on. We're supposed to be really talking about Mercury today, but you know, Pluto's a big deal, and it's an outer planet, and it hangs out a long time, so you feel its feeling. And we're going to talk about this later, but Pluto's in retrograde right now. All the outer planets are in retrograde, so they are slowing down, and you are feeling it. We are
Mm,
feeling the effects of all of those retrograde outer planets.
yeah.
So it's always not just one thing. It's not just that the sun went into Virgo. It's multiple things happening all the time. So,
Interesting.
but we had to focus on something. So that's what our show is about. Just starting somewhere and focusing on a piece of it. So
Right.
yeah, yeah. So
Well, fabulous. Okay, so then the things to know about it, there we kind of run through the basics of the sign. So I think we probably already said this, but Virgo is an earth sign. So
mhm,
it's very material and practical.
right, yes, it exists on the physical plane. That's their when they're in their element. They like to deal with the physical world. Capricorns, Tauruses, and Virgos like to handle the material world. Everybody does, but that's their nature is to be down to earth, concrete, kind of literal,
Concrete.
those kinds of things. But it's an interesting thing because it's ruled by Mercury. So it's the analytical, the logistics, distribution, detail. You know what I mean? Like counting
Hmm.
things. It's that kind of stuff. So it's very, you have to look at the planet that is, ruling it or influencing it. So,
Right.
um, yeah.
So and then the mode of it, there's three modes, and in this particular case, it is a mutable earth sign, which I think
Mhm.
is so interesting. Is because as a Pisces, I think of mutable water makes
Mhm.
like like a lot of sense. It's liquid, it moves, it's flowing, but to be liquid, sort of earth,
Uh
is that
huh.
to mean maybe like volcanic? Is that to
Well,
maybe mean like
that's
tectonic
interesting.
shifts, like rigid, kind of? I don't know.
So it's funny, this is mean, but back to sort of the passive aggressive thing. You know what I mean? Like they kind of immutable is two things. You got the concept of this, like
Hmm.
they want to assert themselves, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But most of the time they're just kind of chill. But then, oh, you know what I mean? That's how I get the mutable of that. Also, the
Mm.
fact that they're dealing with, you know, it's the harvest, it's whatever. They're changing the wheat, into grain, the chaff. Things are changing. So what I want to say is about the mutable signs. What's really cool about it is all of the mutable signs precede the start of a new season. So it allows you to change into the new season. It breaks
Oh,
things
wow, I
up.
didn't know that.
Yeah. So the next season is Libra and it's cardinal air. So what happens is, like, for example, the beginning of the summer was uh, Cancer. Wait a minute. Yeah, was Cancer, cardinal water. Okay, the beginning of the
Yeah.
summer. And then we had the fixed sign. So the heat of the summer was in fixed Leo. And then now the Indian summer, right over is Virgo and Earth, right? And then that's mutable. And then and then it starts over again, the modes start over again,
Mm,
into, yeah. So
wow. And then so then by Capricorn, no, by well, wait, what's the last? Then mutable would be me, Pisces, for the next
Sagittarius is
mutable.
mutable fire. That's the next
Oh, that's right.
mutable. Mutable
Mutable
fire. That's
fire,
right
and
before
that
it's
takes
the end
you
of fall and puts you into winter. Good job, Jake.
wow,
You're
right before
you
the end of the year.
You
True, it as
totally,
well.
totally got it. You totally got it. And those are
Interesting.
called cadent houses, just in case you guys want to know the technical term. Cadent,
Cadent,
cadent. Hmm.
cadent.
So, yeah, the
We're
mutable signs
really,
are always in cadent houses. Yes.
yeah. Anyone who wanted a very mild kind of Mom, I believe you've deemed it, or it's been called cookbook astrology.
Yeah.
That's not what we're doing here. Welcome
Oh, we are
to
detail oriented.
101. This is the
We are
school.
embracing our Virgo. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. I'm gonna
Yes.
spell it for you. I'm gonna explain it
Hmm.
in detail ad nauseum.
That's right.
Yes.
So the mutable energy says like we have like it allows change to occur, happens before every cardinal house, as we just explained, but can be passive aggressive, which I
It's
think
okay.
we
Yeah.
kind of explained. But it's
It's a
just like,
duality thing. There's a
yeah,
duality. Yeah.
there's a lot of it's interesting. Sorry, I know there's a lot of tangents here, but they're happening, and I feel like needs to be said. The like signs that contain a lot of duality. I feel like
Mhm.
Gemini's are that. That's literally their sign as like the twins.
Mutable air. Yes.
Oh.
Uh-huh. Mutable fire, Sagittarius, like wildfire all over the place. Your
But
mutable
it's
water,
interesting, like, but the
waxwing.
one,
Yeah. Or
well, so then would I have a duality then in my
your duality
Pisces sign?
is ebb and tide, ebb and flow.
Okay. So
Right.
every sign has some duality of
So
some
someone
sort.
would say you are wishy-washy. I'm going to say that the Virgos are passive aggressive because they're earthier. You are
Mm,
more of the emotions. So I'm going to say you're wishy-washy in your emotions. I'm going to say they're passive aggressive on what do they want to do. You know what I
I
mean?
see.
Like, so I'm
Yeah.
just, and that's being rude, but that's just a quick way to say it. You know
Well,
what I mean?
I
Yeah.
mean,
But you're right. There's
sometimes passive
duality.
aggression is good. Being passive is good sometimes. I mean,
And then
there's,
asserting yourself when needed. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So, but
that's
that's
right.
more Mars. But this is just going back to mutability. The ability to flex and change your mind is a good thing. To be
Yeah,
able to change is good. We need changed in order to go forward. So, yeah,
absolutely.
into the next sign. So, okay, I'm
Um,
excited about the next part, the symbol. Okay,
yes, let's go. So our symbol, go ahead and click that. Throw that up
okay,
on the screen.
okay. So
The
the reason,
Virgin. What do we need to
okay,
know about the Virgin?
okay. So here's our history lesson. Today's
Okay.
astrological history lesson. So sometimes I deep
We should
dive, but
have
there's a
something that
really
goes across the screen
yes,
when
a
that
really good
happens.
story. It's like astrology with Squidward. Here it comes. Anyway, um, that even though Virgo is ruled by Mercury, Vesta is the goddess of the hearth. Okay, so it is the symbol is the Virgin because the Vestal virgins tended the flame, the sacred fire of Rome, and without them, if the fire went out, they would not have the gift of fire from the gods. So those women tended it. So the work again, back to the service, they kept it alive, right? And so that's an amazing thing. So in honor of the Vestal virgins who keep this secret flame alive, let's see if I can get this. I just happen to have, I don't know if you guys can see
There you
this,
go.
the Virgin of Guadalupe. I got this at the Vallarta supermarket just
Here
because
we
I
go.
liked it.
Some
But I
real
think,
LA.
yes,
There we
I
go.
liked it. And so we're gonna light the sacred fire during the Virgo season. And this candle will burn throughout.
Yes.
This is just a beautiful thing. Here we go.
It is quite nice. I mean, I will say Club Stars Line does not inherently take on any religious connotation, but for the moment,
Yeah.
it's a candle's nice to burn. It's
Right.
nice to burn a
It
candle. So
just so happens that this is the most famous virgin we have because the Vestal virgins were multiple. So this is a specific one. But I want to
yes.
get back to this Vestal virgins thing because this plays into guys that are Virgos too. The thing about the Vestal virgins is they were highly desired and sought after because they were independent. They made money. It was their job. They were like one of the few women in mythology and goddesses and whatever that was their job for 30 years. They signed up for that assignment and they were compensated for their time to keep it going, right? Because they gave up a lot. They sacrificed. They were sort of martyrs. But in the meantime, they had freedom, And
Mm,
so the interesting thing is that a lot of times they'll say that male Virgos are the bachelors of the universe because they are married to their work. They're busy. Like think of a
mm,
doctor who never comes home, doesn't have time for his family. Think of these Vestal virgins who had 24 hours a day, had to keep the flame going. They really didn't have time for, you know what I mean? The selfless service. This is the service concept that comes in. And what I think is interesting is another example of women in the workforce that's more current was in the 1900s, women that worked and this is a Virgo thing, who were spinsters who worked in the clothing factories, right? They spun the whatever. They got paid. That was one of the few jobs women got paid for. So those women were
yeah.
able to be independent, get their own apartments, da da da. So to be called a spinster back in the day was a good thing. And now we've
Mm,
changed our society to say, oh, a single woman who can't get married is a spinster. She's going to grow old and whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's
rude.
interesting how they flipped it. But just at the time, that was the thing. So anyway, just going back to it's not that they don't have sex. It's not that they don't like that. That's not the virgin thing. The virgin is someone who is sovereign over themselves. It's someone that has
Mm,
not been married yet. It's someone that's, you know, is able to, like, a lot of times, like, the oldest daughter in a family wouldn't get married because she would take care of the rest of the people in her family. Vice versa. There's always usually a son, somebody in big families. There was usually a son who didn't get married who took care of the family. So service and being single, not the married life, because what comes after Virgo is Libra season, partnership, marriage, the house of marriage. You know what I'm saying? So that's what this kind of evolves from into. So these people who had
wow.
selfless sacrifice. So anyway, that was a big long explanation, but it's funny. I see on Bumble a lot of Virgo guys, you know, and I can
Well, what does
tell
that tell you? Well, yeah, I
smile.
guess because they're single is what
And
you're
that's going to
saying.
be another
They're
show
out
because
there
Jake and I
working.
talked about that. I can tell the minute they will say things about cleanliness. It makes me laugh. I'm like, yep, that guy's a Virgo, and whoop, I'll look down, there he is.
There you go.
So
Well,
yes,
and
let's keep the
as we
flame
said,
alive. Here we
yeah,
go.
keep the flame alive, y'all. And as
Yes.
we kind of married to the work, blah blah blah, isn't limited to any certain gender.
Right.
So we also have a lady doctor emoji. So
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
but
Yeah, the
but
health.
well, so just kind of quickly, it's the ages of Virgo are 35 to 42. Is that, which kind of makes sense, I guess, in terms of like that's generally roughly a time when people become like first time parents. So it's like very like
Mhm.
get that done, take care of a kid, do stuff. Is that,
Well, I
am
think
I,
that's in the
what
midst
am
of
I
it
thinking?
because I think that the kids stuff happens in Leo because that's romance and children and play and recreation. They get the party
Okay.
started there. Or, well, it starts in the fourth house of home, but this is when you're in the thick of it. Typically, people are taking care of older parents, their kids. They have no time. They're sacrificing everything. This is when you're in the thick of rearing, child rearing. So you're right, Jake. You got that.
Okay.
Yeah, and these
Interesting.
things are just kind of gauges of it's not exactly, but it's just sort of an idea of what that age is. But anyway, so
And where does that come from exactly? So it's like zero
you
is the
know
start of the
right,
astrological
because well, there's 360 degrees in
chart.
a circle. They divide 30 degrees in each thing. So then they figured out the lifespan. Well, people are living to be 100 now, but they figured it like, you know, like if Capricorn is in the 70s, you're like a grandpa and you're wise by then in your legacy. And then, it goes on and on. And then you basically go back to spirit by the time you're in Pisces. You know what I mean? You've got,
Interesting.
yeah. So, but that, I wouldn't hang your hat on that too much on those ages. It's more to do with
Okay.
these other themes and metaphors. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
The planet ruler is Mercury, which I know you said, Mom, is something we were gonna get to
Yeah.
later. Which I actually happen to have a Mercury. Oh no, wait, that's not Mercury. This is Mercury. Image that I typically use. That
Yeah.
I just go ahead and throw it in now,
Right.
since we're
Yeah. The
already
planet
here.
Mercury. The thing about Mercury is it's one of the fastest moving planets. And so it comes around a lot. We're going to have a retrograde this month. We'll talk about that later. But and it represents communication and thinking because rapid thought processes and stuff like that. So imagine a rapid thought process contained in a physical sign. So they're able to handle things like logistics. They're really good at figuring out the physical world. Engineers, medicine. You want somebody who's very detail oriented to count how many stitches they put in you or figure out exactly, what your blood pressure
God, I
is
hope
or
so. Yeah.
how many milligrams of whatever the medicine is you're taking. So the sixth house has a lot to do with health and service. So it has to do with your day-to-day routine and habits, your day-to-day work life, health, both physical and mental, and then your day, all those kinds of things. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
And then so that's the planet we're rocking with Virgo. The house
right.
that it's living in would be the sixth house, which again, Mom, you've already said, was
Right.
service and health and things like that. So we'll go back to our
Yeah.
doctor emoji. But I mean, what more should we elaborate
Well,
on with
what
that?
I think is interesting is like what's funny is the sixth house rules pets. And the late recent trend is that a lot of people have service animals. And it's funny,
Yeah.
that's what they're called. They are there for their emotional and physical well-being. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So a lot of times the animals and care tending and that kind of stuff, caretaking is in the sixth house. Another interesting thing is, and I learned this from Ann Ortley, who's a Virgo, Jake, another astrologer who I had never put this together, but how the military has a lot to do because you serve in the military. People thank them for their
Mm.
service. And think about, she said, what you do most of the time in the military is clean things. You're polishing your shoes, you're cleaning your rifle.
It's very,
It's very
what do you know?
organized.
You have this haircut,
You have this
exactly.
haircut, just like Jake.
It's
That's what I
very
said.
neat.
Proud of Jake. Thanks for having the military buzz cut.
Uh,
But the thing is this is what she said. You want to run a tight ship, literally and figuratively, if you're going into battle. You want to be organized. You don't want to go in there willy nilly and lose people. You know what I mean? So it's just a
Hmm.
really interesting way to tie that together. And the other thing I want to say is we talked about the polarity of the sixth house. The sixth house is the physical uh, healing, like helping you, like, you break your arm, we put it in a cast, you get cut, we put the stitches in, all that physical stuff. But the other part of your health is your healing. And so much that has to do with your mentality and your spirit. And that's in the 12th house. You have to believe that you're going to get well. You have to be in the mental frame of mind. So much of sickness comes from your subconscious. So if your subconscious
Mm,
is good, it's a symbiotic relationship between that internal stuff that's happening and then the external. So, a doctor can only do so much if they don't believe in what you're doing. And we've seen this with the
true.
current pandemic. People don't believe in the cure, so they won't take it. And what happens? They get sick, you know? So it's an interesting thing. And I would like to give this example. It's personal, but, I was raised by a Virgo mother and a Pisces father. My dad's very emotional. My mom is awesome about getting stuff done. When her dad died, this is your great grandpa, Jake, we were at the nursing home, and my mom was at the foot of my grandpa's bed with a clipboard and a pen, writing out all the things that need to be taken care of because that's how she shows her love. Now, some people would think, like, why isn't she paying attention to grandpa? He's in the bed, he's dying. Well, she didn't have to because her Pisces husband is in charge of the emotions. My dad, my Pisces dad, is on bended knee because they had the mattress on the floor as an Alzheimer's unit, holding my grandpa's hand, talking to him, stroking his forehead, say, "It's gonna be all right, Pop. We're right here for you. We love you. We da da da." So he took care of the emotional end of it. My mom's making sure the doctors know what they're supposed to know, and then she's taking care of the physical part. That's how she shows her love. So it's
Wow.
just a very interesting dichotomy. This thing. So sometimes you think that doctors are like brusque and they don't have a good bedside manner, and they got a lot of shit to worry about. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Save the healing for the chaplain. The chaplain will come along and he'll help you with your spiritual healing. The Pisces chaplain will come through.
Yeah.
You know,
There you go. Or,
yeah,
your denomination of choice, of
yeah,
course. But
whatever
yes,
it is. Yeah,
yeah, we respect the, maybe a shaman, whatever you need. We got you. Your
exactly.
Pisces
And
shaman, you'll be
their
fine.
culture is their person, so their medicine
Yes.
man or woman. Yes, exactly.
Yes, that's right. Okay. And then so there's typically a body part
Hmm.
associated most with each sign.
Right.
In this case, we have the stomach, which honestly makes a lot of sense because that thing's taking care of business at
Hmm.
all times, if you know what I mean.
Well, this is
Prepare
interesting.
some business,
They call
make
your
sure
stomach.
things go to the right places.
Well, you're right. Their distribution, the logistics.
It's a distribution center. It's the logistics of the system for
Yes,
sure.
yes, they're converting, all the
Yep.
things into energy, and then the chaff, the grain, whatever gets eliminated, and
Right.
processing and stuff. But the interesting thing about this is the stomach is your second brain. So think about people being
Mm,
worried sick. We kind of talked about that in the beginning. The anxiousness, IBS, think of that, irritable bowel syndrome, and all these other things that you
mhm.
feel it in your gut. You worry, right? You feel it in your gut. So that mind body thing is very much a part of the sixth house. So it's very
Interesting.
interesting.
So if
Yeah.
you're a Virgo with IBS, now you know why. Uh,
Yeah. So there we go.
um, beautiful. And then last, we have the motto. There's always
Yeah.
an I blank statement every
Mhm.
time for every sign. Uh, Mom, yours in Capricorn. I always like to remind people
Oh,
like what ours
mine
are
is I
before
use because I'm very
I
utilitarian.
use.
Yes.
Mine is I believe because I'm a squishy little baby, and I don't want to step on anyone's toes. And Virgo's is I serve.
There you go.
That's that duty, that taking care of business. You're
Yeah.
serving the
Yeah.
world.
They live to serve.
Um, so beyond that, we kind of like to let people know keywords that kind of go into what it means to be a Virgo, and like again, positive, negatives, things. You could paint it as a positive could be a negative could be a positive, more attributes.
Hmm.
We've already said a lot of these, but we'll just go ahead and jump in some more. We have practical, detail oriented, analytical, health oriented, very tidy and clean, into hygiene. And then additional ones, however you may think about it, perfectionists, critics, they worry, they're anxious, hypochondriacs perhaps, or even germaphobes. I wonder if there was data of like the pandemic based on each sign, and if that for some reason that
We're
very
gonna have to
important
do that.
information
We're
that I
gonna.
wonder if somehow Virgos were which sign was the least thus far
Well, what's funny is probably
afflicted.
the germaphobe. I mean, the Virgos were probably like, "I told you so." I've been using hand sanitizer since day
Yeah.
one. Which my mother has been using hand sanitizer.
Well, you know, that's interesting, and I've said this before. I think I actually brought on the pandemic because I never used hand sanitizer. I never had it on me. I never had it in my car. I never used it. And literally, like 3 to 5 months before the pandemic, I just like I should have this. I never have hand sanitizer. Never ever bought it in my entire life. And I was like, well, it's the city. I don't want to like touch stuff and then get into my car. I should just have like a little bit of hand sanitizer.
Jake, it's
It's
your
my fault,
psychic.
people.
You
I
were
brought
plugging.
my
hmm You were plugging into the collective unconscious in your 12th house. Yes, exactly.
oh
A
my god,
Piscean
all the way
spider
back in the
senses picked it up.
yeah. I
So
mean, or that I moved to a bigger city where I touched like public transit
that is
rails and
true.
stuff like that. But
Yeah,
nonetheless, I definitely never thought about that when I didn't live in a major city. So
I didn't become
I,
a. Mm-hmm.
but I mean, but you're saying, Mom, like like Virgo is the sister sign to my sign.
Right.
So when I tapped into that, perhaps the Virgo part of me knew what to do. So it's kind of quite interesting.
Yeah.
Mom, I think this might be my new favorite thing, and I think we should triple down on this, and we should always have this segment,
Uh-huh.
which we're going to call the not so fun fact, because I feel like this whole show is about fun facts,
Yeah.
but now we're going to have one that
I know. We've
that
had
really
some
is
other
kind of a
not so
bummer.
fun. This
Yeah,
is the wah wah Debbie Downer part.
yeah,
And you like we talked about this, how people always like to give trouble to different signs for different things. But
yes,
this is pretty darn funny. And I've seen this in
yes.
multiple places. Jake, would you like to take it away?
Well, as our info is written here, is some say the most serial killers of all the signs, the one that has the most is Virgos, in that they are perhaps systematic, like patterns and routines, and have predictable behavior.
Mhm.
You have Mom here could be tied with Scorpio
Right.
because
So
they're so
people said,
passionate.
okay, there was like I saw like it was like 47 famous serial killers and they were Virgos. But then they said close behind are the Scorpios because the Scorpios are intense, are fixed emotional signs of crimes of passion. And it rules the
Uh,
eighth house of death and taboo. You know what I mean? So it's funny, back to the sixth house, you know, that it's the mental energy. You know what I mean? The mental energy makes them, they might be neurotic or they get like totally feverish and worried. And that might
mm,
lead them to some kind of OCD behavior and then it's, I don't know much about serial killers, but what I think is funny is if we want to scroll on down, Jake, this
hmm
is just anecdotal, but I know two people who are Virgos who are completely fascinated with true crime. That's their favorite thing,
uh,
and they talk about it all the time. One has a podcast, one just reads it. And I have to tell you, I was a public librarian for many years, and the biggest section of books that had the most numbers was 364.1 was true crime. Everyone reads it. And I think it has to do with the solving of the mystery and the details. So the other funny thing is, you had a forensics teacher at your high school who was a
hmm
Virgo. And so they would put a dead chicken in a crate and they'd stick it out and they'd go outside and watch it decompose. And that class was packed. It
every
sold out
time. Yeah, that's
every
true.
every year. Those kids, everybody loved to get it. So there's something in the human mind of like we're fascinated with death. We're living every day, but we're also fascinated with death. So yeah.
Well, and that's interesting too, because I mean, there is such a fixation in our podcast culture, especially for true crime podcasts. Mom, you're saying on the dating apps, that's what I see a lot is people are like, "What do you like?" And it's true crime podcasts all the time, which honestly, I think, let me tell you, I think is depraved. I think it's horrible. It's horrendous. How would you do such a thing? How could you listen to it? And it's like, honestly, everyone, this is so here's hot takes. We're getting into it. I'm drinking, the devil's juice here, so I might as well just get into it. Is like, why would you spend all this time listening to death? And like
Okay.
so many podcasts, they don't even like learn the lesson. They don't even
hmm
like take the be like, okay, what about this? Why is this so fascinating? What is it about it? It's just to like, oh my god.
Well,
And then like let's have it. And then they like cut her arm off. Oh my
ew, oh
god.
God, oh God. Okay, but what I think is funny, Jake, again, a perfect segue is
Uh
if we talk about this next Virgo person who's famous, the lighter version of true crime was mysteries. People want to solve
mm,
problems. They like to know the inner
that's true.
motivations and things. And so, for
That's
example,
true.
one of the most famous mystery writers was Agatha Christie. She's a woman, right? You would think, who she
Hmm.
doesn't write about that stuff. She's a Virgo. Her birthday's September 15th. But people love it. And why would she love it? There's details and clues, and it's all mental, like perceptions. And what did you notice? And it's very
Mm.
logical, methodical. And just think of gathering of evidence. Think how they have to pick it up and put it in a plastic bag, or they have to use a little feather duster or whatever the heck it is. It's all that Virgo type stuff. So the interesting thing that comes after Virgo is Libra, right? And Libra is the scales of justice. So this is where
Hmm.
they do the work, all the details to bring that person to justice in the next house.
Wow.
Yeah.
You did check this already, Mom. That's why you brought up Agatha Christie,
Yes. Yes.
because she's a Virgo.
September 15th. Yes.
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 Okay. Just triple. I was like, wait, did I miss that? Did you just happen to bring her up? Yes, she is a Virgo.
Okay.
Anyway.
Now,
Yes.
on the other end of this, wanting to get back over to service is Mother Teresa. So, if we're going to again back to sort of
Mm.
these religious things, but it goes back to service. Okay. Her ministry in India was for the sick and dying. She said nobody wanted to deal, going back to true crime, nobody wanted to deal with, there were people dying and laying in the streets and the gutters, and people just walked right past them. And her whole thing was no, we have to be compassionate to these people in their last moments of life. They still have value. There's pictures of her holding these people in her arms in the gutters. So she wasn't afraid to get in there and get dirty and get gritty. You know what I'm saying? She literally saved them. And so and then she would take them to a place which we would call hospice. But at the time, well, she started an order called the Missionaries of Charity Service, right? And it was in the streets of Calcutta. And the name of it was the Home for Dying Destitutes.
Oh my
So
God.
just isn't that something? So anyway, but now they've renamed it the Home of the Pure Heart. Which, going back to,
That does sound
Jake,
a little
where's the
bit better.
picture? Yes, the Sacred Heart right here. Here we go. The Virgo.
Yeah.
Sacred Heart. You got it in the other picture. Yeah. So isn't that something? So Mother Teresa,
Well, I wonder
not
if
afraid to go there.
another Virgo was like, we need to clean up the name of this. This is a little much. We need to keep it
You
analytical.
know
We
what
need
it
to keep
was?
it
It was
on.
Libra
Yeah.
branding. They wanted to make it more, harmonious. The Libras came in, the PR marketing department came through, and
I see. That's right. Um.
yeah. So there's that.
Yeah. I mean, well, and that's interesting too, because I feel like then the sister feeling of like Virgo is then that compassion, which to me is like very Piscean, because all we are is emotional, but
Hmm.
then we can't get business done. And then Virgo would be like, the business and just
Right.
like taking care of things. But I feel like that you have to have quite
You're
a compassion to want to do
right.
that
And,
kind of
and
work.
I go back to that not being afraid to go there. So, like my mom, maybe she doesn't want to, get into the emotional part, but she's going to do everything to take care of him. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? At that part, at the end. You know what I mean? The stuff that nobody wants to deal with. Nobody wants to call the funeral home. Nobody wants to da da da. But she took care of business. You
So
know,
is it more of like it's more of like service? I mean, that's what
it's
we're saying 1,000
service.
times, but it's like a sense of service. What is right? What is
Right.
just?
Do the
So less
work.
so the
The work. I'm
emotional,
going to do
but what is the
the
work?
work of this. Yes.
Interesting.
So anyway, it's an
So you
amazing.
Virgos are out there doing a service.
Yes, Virgos. Thank you, Virgos, for your service.
Thank you for your. Have you thanked a Virgo today? Um.
Oh, and this goes back to Jake. We talked about this earlier. The essential workers
Yeah.
during this pandemic. Who knows if they were Virgos or what? But the essential workers were the people who did the detailed work. You couldn't get rid of the garbage people. You couldn't get rid of the people at the grocery store. The doctors. Oh my God, the doctors, the most essential workers. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Yeah.
people doing the work are the most essential. Yeah.
Interesting. So very
Yeah.
Virgoian. Is that how you would say it? Virgogian.
Virgoan. Go.
Virgoan.
Goan. Virgoan. Mm-hmm.
We're going
We're
there.
going down there.
We're going there, people. Let's see. We've got Boogie Troll 69 in the chat with the volcano emoji. We must have missed when you said that, but thank you. I appreciate it. And because of the Earth, because tectonic plate. We were talking about lava. Anyway,
Yeah.
thanks, Boogie Troll. What's up? Okay. Well, now gets to our place of the Virgo. We're gonna do the deep dive. I think this will be a good second just to take a quick brief break of the momentum and just say you're watching the travel agency. This is Club Stars Line. This is our Virgo edition. Thank you all for being here. We'll have some DJ set coming up later, so watch out for that. I will be on the ones and twos and bringing kind of a mixed version of literally and figuratively of a sort of DJ Puzzle Pisces, what I usually bring to the table, and the shell of what I could possibly bring of the DJ Mix Risks kind of vibe. So if you're hanging out, come stay for the party. We'll have probably around I guess that's what time do we normally do that by? Like 9:30
Yeah.
my time,
Yes. But
Central
we have another
Time. So Central Standard. Yeah, we got lots coming up. But anyway, look forward to some music that's coming up. Okay, let us grab and jump into our deep dive. We're gonna go start off as always with the rising sign.
Right. Very good.
What do we need to know about Virgo
So,
rising signs?
okay, so just like we always say, you're not just your sun sign. So even though this whole thing is about Virgo season, we're going to talk about what it
Yes.
means to have Virgo in each of your placements, right? So Virgo
Yep.
rising is if when you were born, Virgo was on the horizon, right? So that colors you. So like your personality, your persona, see you people might think you're a Virgo if you were born with Virgo rising. So what's interesting is their appearance. So there's usually something about their head because right, Mercury, it's a mental sign, right? So there's something usually physical about either maybe like sort of a V-shaped forehead, but they're usually very innocent looking, which is kind of an interesting thing. Very beautiful but understated. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
not super like distinct features, but beautiful but understated, right?
Is
And they
beautiful, but like doesn't know it.
well, and just yes, exactly. And they stay looking young because they care about their health. They're
Mm.
very health oriented, very much about their skin. They're very beautiful. They stay beautiful for a very long time. Even men,
Interesting.
men are they're very super handsome. Yes, they stay because they take care of themselves. Let's go back to that.
All
So this
right.
is a key, to
Take
beauty.
care of
So
business, these Virgos.
yeah, so Jake, would you like to say a few people that we that were Virgo risings that we've
Yes.
determined? Hmm.
So we've got Emma Watson, who looks very youthful, no question.
She was
Uh,
Hermione.
U-
Yes,
yes.
she's an Aries
Uma.
sun, but she's Virgo rising. Yes. Hmm.
Interesting.
Okay.
Uma Thurman, who is a Taurus but is Virgo rising, also very youthful. And Chris Kardashian.
Hmm.
Uh, definitely
Yeah.
stays young. I think has I wonder if too like if it's like well so she's a Virgo
She's
rising sign.
Virgo rising. Yeah. Yeah. I
What is
forgot what her
her? Do you
sign.
know her? Okay,
I'm
well
sorry I
anyway,
didn't look it up, but yeah,
yes,
she might be a Virgo, I think. But
yes.
but just think about her family, how like particular in their clothes and everybody looks
Oh,
good
for
all the
sure.
time. And
Well,
yeah,
everyone it keeps her young. You know what I
yeah.
mean? That business that she takes care of keeps her youthful and keeping things going. And then, Mom, you have written here that Madonna is
Uh,
rumored as a Virgo rising, and of
okay,
course we have
so
to have like a virgin. It's right there, people. It
this is
writes
what we're
itself.
thinking. Okay, so she has changed her. She's a tricky one. She doesn't want anybody to really know, but multiple times people have kind of pinned her down, and more often than not, she says she's Virgo rising, and it makes
Hmm.
sense because she's like haute couture, right? Vogue, right? Whatever. And then her major album was like a virgin, so it is pretty funny. And
Mm.
her name is
Madonna.
Madonna.
I mean, the Virgin Madonna. That's true. Yep. Virgin Mary. It's right there. You know, she can
It's
only stay away for so long until there's these giveaways that she has out here. You know.
right. This is the thing, This is the thing. We were talking about how astrology is so sometimes it's just so freaking literal. They just drop it. It's like this. I heard an astrologer say the other day, stuff like this with Madonna is like a wink wink. It's
Yeah.
astrology going, yep, wink, wink. Get it? She is a Virgo rising. You know what I mean? Like she
Yeah.
really is. Um so yeah, so that's that. So, rising sign is persona, and what you look like.
Interesting.
Okay. So now we're gonna go with the Virgo sun. So somebody who's born on this day. Okay, so this is so much fun because there's so many Virgos that are fun to talk about. So Jake, I'll let you take it away and we can kind of
Yes, so I will so what we'll have just by the way in my DJ set will be all Virgo musicians. I typically do an all Virgo rapper set. Notably, we've got Lil Yachty, we've got Skepta, we've got Ludacris. It runs a gambit. Virgo as an earth sign, I feel like it's interesting that a lot of rappers tend to be fire signs. And then on the water signs, when I find the list of rappers, it's very seldom. There's very few of them. But in the earth signs, especially Virgo, I feel like there was a lot of young rappers, particularly. There was like a lot of people who like have been getting after it for a long time, even though they've been in the game for a while. Like Wiz Khalifa, for instance, he's only 32, which means and then he's definitely been around for over 10 years. So he's been doing this since at least 18, which is so crazy to think about. So I don't know if there's like a youth or vitality thing, Mom, which I don't know if that's like, but it just seems so interesting to me
well,
that these grounded people will continue to kind of do their thing in their very youthful space.
well, I'm glad you put your again. You're always bringing it up, Jake. And this is the thing. We are saying the astrology. We're saying it
Hmm.
without even know we're saying it because it's in our language. The reason those Virgos are out there is because they work hard. They're
Yeah,
getting after it. They're
they're
doing it.
doers.
They're
Yeah.
making it happen, and they're ruled by Mercury. So it's words. They're wordsmiths.
Hmm.
Words are their thing. The lyrics are their thing. Rap is their thing. You know,
Wow.
they're making it happen. So
Well,
yeah.
so additionally to that, we have quite a few people that we could note as famous Virgos because I feel like again, like you're saying like words, like famous actors use their words. So, for
Uh-huh.
instance, we've got our boy, our deep favorite, Jack Black, is a Virgo. Very quick before we jump into there, we've got Chris Pine, Cameron Diaz, Adam Sandler, Idris Elba, Jason Sudeikis, Colin Firth, Tyler Perry, Amy Poehler. We'll have to get back to her in a minute. Keanu Reeves. But anyway, back to Jack Black because he's our boy. Oh, Richard Gere. Uh, tell us. Let's talk about Jack Black.
Jake and I, we love Jack Black.
He's the best. We
Oh my
love
god,
him
it
so
makes me laugh
much.
so hard. Thoughts about Jack Black. So we're talking about the Vulcan right here, the
Yes, he's got the V, like the symbol as we saw before.
Mhm.
It's got the kind of M shaped, sort of eyebrow
Yeah.
situation. Yeah, with our boy Jack.
Well, he's so verbal. Like, just think of when he goes on a scat riff or whatever.
Yeah.
He's just so clever.
It's very, yeah, like that's a little nacho vibe there for you.
I love him so much. A School of Rock. He was a teacher. Oh my god! And then we love Nacho so much. Just
Oh, we
Tenacious
love
D.
nacho
He's
so
so
much.
dang funny, and it's because it's
Yeah.
in the details. The funniest stuff. He picks up. He's so observant. He picks up on just the. It's just the details that crack me up about him all the time. He's always got it. So
He really can just like move his eyebrows and we will laugh. Like, I mean, that's crazy. Like, just even thinking about it makes us laugh. We don't even have to see it.
right, right.
It's
So
just it's
we're
really
a
quite
fan.
something.
We're a
Yeah.
fan of this Virgo man for sure, for
Yes.
sure.
Big
Okay,
Jack Black fans.
now a throwback to somebody who's become back in the spotlight again is our friend from the '70s, Mr.
Freddie.
Freddie Mercury. Okay,
Yes.
so hello, Freddie Mercury is a Virgo. He's ruled by Mercury, so he changed his name to Freddie Mercury. You know what I mean? How cool
It's
is
right there.
that?
It's right there.
Again, wink, wink. Right there's a nod. The wink and a nod from the universe. And the thing about him, which besides being a showman, is the fashion, the couture. If you've seen the movie, what's it called was Bohemian Rhapsody, wasn't it? Was the name of the movie?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. He falls in love with Mary, right? In a clothing store. She worked at a clothing store because he was picking out clothes, velvet pants to wear to his show. And the funny thing is, Jake, Mary is, guess what? A Pisces. He was the love of her
Oh,
life, just like the song "Love of My
makes
Life."
sense.
Right, right, right. So they were a perfect complement. So, but anyway, one of the big things about him, they said, in the movie, and if you watched it, is that he was a taskmaster. He was on them. They do it over and over and over again until they got it perfect. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And that's quality control. Come on, you know what I mean? And it was, yeah. So
Well, and I feel like, he wants to get things right, get it done, but then also have a sort of flash in I feel like I keep talking about it, and maybe it's because I'm self-involved, but I feel like the Piscean sort of like emotional feeling of the sister sign of like wanting to have that sort of
yeah,
feeling. The "We Will Rock You" song famously is like the song where the audience participates,
mhm,
to be like included and to get people motivated, to like get them going and stuff. I feel
right,
like wanting people to rock,
right.
that's a doer energy. You want to get them involved too,
Yeah.
to
Well, in his
rock it
lyrics, his
properly.
words, I mean, his songs were about something real. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, everything. So I'm a fan.
Oh, and then
Okay.
now we're just gonna jump to this. I didn't mean to
No, no,
switch
no,
it,
that's
but
fine.
we
No,
might
no,
as well
no, no.
jump into it.
We're good. We're good.
Our
Okay, Jake,
last
you
person
go.
we were gonna talk about. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's
Go
talk
ahead.
about Amy Poehler. Go for it.
Well, so okay, so you have here that she actually in real life is a Virgo.
She
Amy Poehler
is.
is a Virgo, right?
Yes.
So what's funny though is as doer energy, her famous character Leslie Knope in Parks and Rec is like the most doer person ever. Like half the jokes about her is that like it's like how did you manage to do all of this? It's like oh I just didn't sleep, or
I
like
didn't sleep. Yeah,
yeah
she's
I
kind of a busybody too, right? Isn't she
she's
like everywhere? Yeah.
yes
Yeah.
extremely. So she's a doer. She cares. She takes care of it all the time. Mom, what you said is they don't have her birthday. They have her birthday listed very kind of wrong, frankly,
Well, it's interesting
seemingly.
because I always do this. I'm always like, oh, I got to see. I got to see if the character they put. So they did say on the show they celebrated her birthday on January 18th, which they got that part right. She's an Earth sign. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, you know what I mean? January
a
18th is
Capricorn.
my birthday. Now,
My mom's
let's go
birthday.
there,
Yes.
Jake. Well, I used to work in public service. I was a public librarian. I was out in the community, very much like a Parks and Rec person. And Jake, you said, Mom, you kind of have an Amy Poehler vibe. What's her name? Leslie Nope. You have a
Leslie
Leslie
Knope.
Nope vibe.
Leslie Knope kind of vibe. Yeah. Well, and it makes sense because that's service, right? What is more earthy than service? Like a librarian, she
Yeah,
works in the Parks and Recs department in Pawnee, Indiana.
yeah,
So it's this service to others, and then getting it done to make sure that others. So it's like a compassionate service.
hmm,
It's not just like business for business sake. It's to
yeah,
honor something, sort of.
yeah, yes. Very good.
It's just
So yeah.
funny though that there is. I think, Mom, we talked about this, that like, I guess despite being germaphobes or something like that, that Virgos could tend to be viewed as maybe messy,
Hmm.
or like, or or at least that
Yes.
messiness comes out somewhere else,
You
sort
got
of.
it right. No, you got it exactly right. Just because they're germaphobes and they're clean doesn't mean that they're organized. I mean, they're organized, but sometimes they're so in their heads that they get piles of papers and it's a little scattered. They're not minimalists like Capricorns who immediately eliminate. You know
Mm.
what I mean? They are like cluttered sometimes. So you know the thing of the neat freak doesn't mean they're 100% or you know what I mean? They
Well,
yeah
it has
because
to
they're
come out
detail
somewhere,
oriented.
right? There needs to be an exhaust, a sort of space where you're not that all the time, right? Like, I'm a Pisces. I need a space where I get shit done, and that is me doing dishes. So like, I can't be wishy-washy all the time. We need that sort of part of your life that isn't just what you do all the time, where you
Right,
don't want to care as much, or maybe you care too
right.
much or something. And then historically, or what's funny in the show, is that Leslie Knope has a really messy house. They like finally go to Leslie's house, and like no one's ever been there, and they go there and it's just stacked to the rafters. So
Oh my
ironically, they
god.
got that right as far as like doing it, do it to it energy, and just being so kind and caring to not
She's
only the
too busy
community but her
serving
coworkers.
to
Yeah,
serve herself. She's a martyr. She's selfless. She doesn't even take care of her own stuff. She's always
right,
taking care of everybody else. The codependent. The sign of the codependent.
right. So it makes a lot of sense actually. They wrote her, I think, as a Virgo. They just put her as a Capricorn for some
Yeah, so
reason.
I
So
need to talk to casting and tell them. Just say her birthday's a
yeah,
different.
yeah, just give them a ring, Mom, over at NBC. They'll. I
Okay.
mean, truly, like they're like. But the thing is okay. As astrology continues to enter the American vernacular of culture and stuff, I really do think that someone is going to be the astrological liaison
Yeah.
to
It could
to
be me,
writing.
Jake.
And Mom, I'm just saying, could be you, and you're already in LA,
Well, the crazy
so
thing is, a lot of the times, Jake, and then we're going to have this on our show if we eventually do our
no
own
one take
show,
that idea. It's copywritten. That's my mom's job.
is a lot
Everyone,
of
stop.
times, I don't think the casting people understand that they pick somebody who has exactly that same sign. Like we've talked about this. Does Lin Manuel Miranda realize that Hamilton was a Capricorn just like him? Does he even know
I don't
that?
know.
I don't
I
think he
don't know.
knows. I need to tell him that
You need to
you
tell him.
resonated with this person because you are this person.
Well, when you have your own show on,
Stars align.
Bravo or whatever, it'll be Astrologer to the Stars or something. It would just be called Stars Align.
Yeah,
Anyway, because it'll be Celebrity Stars Align. So you know, we'll get our St. Louis guy, Andy Cohen,
yeah,
from Bravo. We'll get him on the horn. We'll take care of it. So you're again, Mom, you're in the right place. And from as a St. Louisan, I
yeah.
mean, I mean, how could he not want to sign you, to Bravo? So I mean.
Right. We're getting there. Big dreams. We're
Wow.
gonna make it
Wow.
happen.
We just made your like 5 to 10 year plan.
Yeah, get
I'm
her
gonna lean
done
on
energy.
5, but
Jake,
that's the get
look
her
at that.
done.
We've got our bullet point plan. We've got it figured
Wow,
out.
we
So
just took care of it. Look at Virgo season serving us right this moment.
you got it.
Um,
Got it. Yep.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, so
The
that
moon. Shall
was.
we go to the moon? Yes.
Let's
Yes.
go to the
Yes.
moon.
Okay.
Go to the moon.
Virgo moons, Jake.
Yes.
Okay. So if you think about the Pisces moon is the most sensitive because it's the 12th
Hmm.
sign. It's the most sensitive water sign. Okay. So think about the opposite. So when,
Okay.
the moon always likes to be in a water sign because it can express itself. So just going back to my mom, right? Her moon's in Leo, but the Virgo moon is contained. Anytime you have the moon in a Earth sign, Earth placement, it's contained. So you don't show your emotions. You show them, but you're not. It's not like a fire sign that's like that goes off the a deep end or whatever. They contain it first, and then with Mercury they analyze it. So the problem is that a lot of times it stays in on themselves. So very self-critical of their emotions, maybe ashamed of their emotions, feel like they shouldn't feel this way. You know what I'm saying? They want to control their emotions, but they're very sympathetic because it goes back to the compassion. Very helpful. They're motivated to help people. You know what I mean? But very analytical of their emotions. So they get a little there. So this equals translation being worried. It's a worried moon, you
Mm,
know? And where does it go? They hold it in their gut, right? Your emotions, right? Where are you going to put it? Down in your gut, right? So a lot of times Moon and Virgo people have the stomach issues, Yeah, they're critical of themselves and of their emotions because they're
mm,
discerning of them. They're discerning it.
Yeah.
And they're not comfortable feeling it like a moon in Pisces will feel it. The moon in Virgo doesn't necessarily want to feel their feeling. They want to contain it and analyze it.
That makes sense.
Okay. So, but they're compassionate. So don't get me wrong. People that have Virgo moons, not giving you guys crap. I'm saying just be nice to yourselves. I'm saying please be compassionate towards yourself in your
Yeah.
feelings, you know.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And do we know any Virgo moons? I don't think we have it listed,
Well,
but is there anything
yeah.
you can think of?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Oh,
know some of my
anyway.
family, but that's okay. Nobody knows
Well,
them.
we'll keep that private.
Yes, we will. Yes.
uh, well, returning to Mercury,
Yes.
the planet of Virgo. What do we need to know?
Yeah, Mercury in its happy place. It's in its home sign. It's loving
Hmm.
it. So Mercury in Virgo is unleashed. It is the wordsmith. It's the editor, the copywriter. It's verbose. Um, we talked about Jake. You've talked about this before. When a planet is close to the sun, it's combust. So there's like a lot of famous people. For example, Keanu Reeves has his Mercury right there with the sun. So not only is it the sun in Virgo, it's Mercury's in Virgo. So it's just even amplified more. And one of the things I'll say about people that have Mercury in Virgo is, yeah, they might talk a lot, but they're very, very polite.
Mm.
You know, they're very concerned with how they're coming across. You know what I mean? They're critical of how they're being perceived. And then the thought process. It's very much more, I wouldn't say it's as much talking as it is analyzing. It's very much
Okay.
a Mercury and Virgo analytical sign. Again, because it's an Earth, it's more contained. Whereas the Mercury and Gemini is like blah blah blah, and they're going to talk it out. The Mercury and Virgo is going to think it out, and then,
Mm.
but it's more think it out first, and then comes out.
Well, I'm sorry we don't have a picture of Keanu. We have a picture of
But
everyone else, but
think about Keanu Reeves. He gets quoted all the time. Have you ever noticed that? There's 1,000
yeah, I
Keanu
mean,
Reeves.
well, his fandom has certainly increased exponentially, I would say, in the last like 5, 10 years. Well,
Well,
5 years.
yeah,
I mean, he was always popular, but yeah.
but he's very unassuming. You notice he's not like the Leo who's going to roar about it. He's very
Yes.
unassuming. He speaks his truth. You know what I mean? It's very
Well, and
cool.
I think that's why they like him, is he just kind of leaves it all on the field. You know, he's an actor. He wants to get it out there, but he kind of, I think, is a more recessed person. Do we know his sun sign?
Yeah, he is a Virgo.
Oh, he is a
Yeah,
Virgo, but
yeah,
he's
he's a
also
Virgo
has a
with
Mercury in Virgo.
right.
Virgo.
And
Wow.
the word I think we want to use is he's humble. He's
Mm.
humble. That's what a humble servant, right?
Yeah,
Humbly, yeah. So
to serve the people.
yeah,
And then we've got Venus in Virgo.
yeah. Okay, so this is a big
Um,
thing. So let me tell you this. Just how we said the moon, it likes to be in Pisces, it feels its emotions. Venus is exalted in Pisces. My Venus is in Pisces, right? It feels its feelings. It loves love. You know, it loves everyone. Da 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 da. So in the opposite, Venus in Virgo is more discerning. It doesn't mean so. A lot of times people will, I'll talk to counsel people and they'll be like, "Oh my God, my Venus is in Virgo, and it's it's to its detriment or whatever it is." No, no, no. It gets a bad rap. But it too wants to love you and serve you. So what it will do, and this was the example I wanted to use, is, for example, Venus in Leo is going to show you they love you in a very flashy way. See how much I love you? I'm going to give you a big bouquet of flowers, right?
mm,
The Venus in Virgo is going to be like asking you throughout the now what kind of flowers do you like, and what kind of vase? What vase do you know what I mean? And maybe it's something you could plant in the yard, and just going to be gathering information throughout the year, and they're going to make sure that look how much I noticed what you
mm.
love. Not how
So
much
their
I
love
love
language.
you. Not how much I love
No.
you. Look how much I notice what you love. They're about what you love. Going back to that kind of I'm not saying they're codependent, but they want to make you happy. So they're going to, and that attention to detail, they might be like, why do you ask me 50 questions? Oh, I don't care. I want anything. But they're like, no, no, no. I want to know exactly what you want. I want to please you.
Interesting. Well, I
So
wonder
that's
too if like we never really do love language breakdowns, and I'm sure that's a thing across the board of like, what is it, like 5 or 6 of them that like which sign is most felt,
right.
you
Oh,
know?
Leos would want gifts. They would want to be
Oh, for
showered with
sure,
gifts. This would probably be
right,
acts of service.
acts of
A
service,
Virgo would want an act of service. They'd want you to do something for them. You know what I
because they
mean?
would speak their language. They would
And it
know
would
how.
lighten their load because they work so much. If you
Right.
wash the dishes for them, Jake, woof, watch out. You might get yourself a girlfriend.
Oh my God. Any single Virgo ladies, I'll wash your dishes.
All the
Watch
single
out.
ladies. Oh,
Yes.
oh,
Uh-oh. Uh, anyway,
oh. We're
stay
so
tuned.
bad. We're such goofballs at this point.
No, that works.
Okay.
So I humorously tend to take my headphones off when we move to the Mars portion. Um, I actually very poorly timed, or maybe perfectly timed, uh, my liquid intake. So I actually have to go to the bathroom anyway, Mom. As a brief aside, so maybe if you want to talk about Mars, I'll be right back in a
Okay. Well,
jiff.
this. Okay. Well, then I'm gonna go all the way, Jake. You're gonna die if
All
you
right,
listen
here
to
you go.
this.
Have fun. I won't be here. Okay, bye.
Okay. You better hurry up though, because I don't want to get into it too much. Run, Jake, run. Okay, so Mars and Virgo is actually happening right now, which is an amazing thing. So people are, it's get her done energy, meaning that we are going to be able to take attention to detail and take those, that enthusiasm from Leo, and actually go forward in, in a systematic way, make these plans, make these things come true, right? So the, like we said before, Mars and Virgo is exciting. You can see their actions because their actions actually come to fruition. Their actions have a physical, tangible result. So they're very the most hardworking, very analytical. They're going to make a plan, and it's going to, they'll make sure every dot and I is dotted and T is crossed. So like I said, going back to engineering, logistics. My youngest son has his Mars in Virgo, and he is able to do planning. He planned these trips for a volunteer group, which of course, there you go, service. And he had to handle like 30 something people going on this trip, and all the hotels and all the food, and the logistics of the gas and getting all the drivers and the insurance. So all that, the capacity to handle that level of detail is what Mars and Virgo is really good at. So they can handle it. Now, when this comes, a lot of times Mars has to do with your sexuality. So how would this play out? How would Mars and Virgo play out? So we went back to their caretaking. They want to please you. They care about cleanliness and hygiene. So be happy. You're going to have some nice clean sheets, or they're going to anticipate your needs. They're going to want to know exactly what makes you happy, and count yourself lucky that you have someone who actually gives a crap about what you need. So anyway, just going back to that, that's the way they show their love. And like we said, Mars and Virgo shows, it manifests in your sexuality, and also shows how you work in the world, how you put yourself out there in the world, and the actions that you take. So Jake can safely come back now eventually. So I could say some other things, but here he comes. Okay, there we go.
Okay, I'm back.
Perfect timing.
Great.
It wasn't too embarrassing, and I did actually edit myself. I saved the X-rated part. You guys will have to look up the X-rated part for later. I
God.
gave the PG-13 version.
Well, Mom, this is on.
Cleanliness.
This is children play video games here, Mom. So watch out. I
Okay.
mean, let's be
Okay.
careful.
Yeah, we didn't go too far. I think I did a good blend of, yeah, work and
You
play.
kept it. You kept it right. That's good.
Right.
Well, cool. Yeah, I missed that. That's wonderful as always.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
so here we
So
go.
now I guess let's move on to our celebrity chart.
All right. Do we need to do a
And
station identification? Actually, Jake, now I have to go to the bathroom. Okay,
well,
how about
perfect.
you
I'll
do
my
the
turn to
station
vamp. You
identification,
run to the restroom. I'll be right here.
and you can
Um,
introduce our girl. I'll be right
our
back.
girl. Yes, everyone. Thank you for being here. Hello, Snail Squatch. Hi to you as well. Thank you for being here. Everyone, you're watching the Travel Agency. This is the show Club Stars Line, our Virgo edition. We're getting real. We're making it right. For those who missed it, we are doing DJ sets later. And I say DJ sets, even though I'm the only one doing a DJ set. There'll be noticeable differences in the kind of section that we're doing. And there's a particular track I'm excited to play as I don't know. It's one of those fun moments. Anyway, so stay tuned. We'll have lots of that. Gosh, what else do we need to talk about? This is called vamping. Yeah, so this is Stars Align, Club Stars Align. My mom is Stars Align Astrology. So if you guys want to keep up to date with everything astrological in her world, go follow her on Instagram and Twitter and all these other places. Even TikTok, there's going to be a lot more space getting taken care of there. So, Mom, I was just kind of telling everyone to go find you on various social media because you know what?
Aw.
This is the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to publicly make it known for the people that are watching that you need to get on it. So,
Okay, we got the details, and this is what we did talk about. There's been a lot of transition the last,
yes,
but now it's get her done energy. We're gonna get down to
it's
the
get her
nitty
done.
gritty. Hey,
Yes,
Jack Black, the nitty gritty.
the nitty gritty. At the center of every man you find his nucleus. And that's what you're going to find here is the nucleus of the astrological world on not only Club Stars Align and of the Virgo world, but mom, on your own social media and where people may go,
Yeah.
especially, in the TikTok world, Twitter,
Yeah.
as I said, Instagram, they should follow you and
Yeah.
we'll
Okay.
let the people know what's going on. So,
Well, and the thing is, this is my favorite thing. And I mean, when you're doing what you love, it doesn't feel like work. So I can sit in my chair for 10 hours a day and do this. And so I need to, it's just been like logistics and getting here. And now I think we are all on the same page and we're ready to move forward. And we're going into fall. The energy has changed where we can settle down and like harvest a lot of these ideas and the work that we've
ooh,
done.
harvest. It's a
There you
time
go.
to
Harvest.
harvest. That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. Exactly. Thanks,
Well,
Jake, for
I'll
the
say
shout out.
too,
Appreciate it.
yes. Well, so you got to, that's part of our station ID is also talent ID. So,
Okay.
yeah, basically, I didn't mention our celebrity guest, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say,
Yeah.
it's our queen Beyonce. Here she is, our Virgo queen. I think she has no Leo in her chart, mom. You said,
Yes, she
or she
does.
has
She has
some.
Mars and Leo. She's got a very
Interesting.
prominent Mars and Leo. Yes.
Well, we'll break that down because I just
Huh.
say the big mane of hair makes a lot of
Yes.
sense. I feel like
Yes.
Beyonce is
She is
generally known
Libra
for
rising,
stuff.
so that's okay. She's very beautiful. That's okay, but she has
Mm-hmm.
gorgeous,
Oh,
amazing hair.
absolutely.
But Mars in her 10th, yeah. So the big
So
deal.
yeah, Beyonce, our Virgo queen. What is there to say about her? Uh,
Well, we had to.
bajillionaire
Yes.
married to a fellow bajillionaire who is a
He's a Sagittarius. Very good.
Sagittarius. He is December 4th. I know that because he has a song called December 4th off of the Black Album, which is my favorite Jay-Z album. Anyway, what is there to say about Beyonce? She's
Well, the main reason we picked her, I always like to talk about like our motivation is, well, for one thing, she's amazing, and
yes,
but it's funny, her birthday is this Saturday. She's September 4th, and it's not just any old birthday; it's her big 4-0,
her big
which
4-0.
Jake and I were shocked. We're like,
Yeah,
she's what?
that's crazy. How is Beyonce just now turning 40?
Yeah,
I thought she would be. I mean, not that she seems older or something. There's something wrong with like an older age, but I just thought she'd be like well into her 40s by now. But that just means she's been
but
famous
Jake,
since she was like
this
very
goes
young,
back to
much like
those
the other pop
rappers. How
stars.
you're like, how come they're
Yeah.
so young? They work
Yes.
so hard. Their success comes so much faster because they work their butts off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's been slowing down. She's been putting out the hits and busy having kids and getting married and doing a million things, and being this
Yeah.
charitable. Yeah, go ahead.
Well,
Yeah.
it's just she's queen bee as we know,
Mhm.
and she just she has that work ethic, and I mean she has been like her family I think was part of her career very early on, and may still be as far as her management. I believe her dad and mom were part of that, and there may have been some tumultuous aspects to that, but I think as far as there just being that motivation, I'd be curious to see what her signs her parents are, especially to kind of whatever energy they put into her, she was then able to make it happen in a very
Right.
logistical way like a Virgo. So I think that um and then again like kind of the service, like wanting to provide and make like a good show. I feel like she has
Hmm.
that inkling to want to make a spectacle, to do it right, to do this big thing. And I think it's funny you said that she has a Libra moon, I think,
Hmm.
right?
She's Libra
That
everything.
she's
Except,
Lib lots of Libra. Okay,
hmm.
so then which we'll get into. But, a lot of her stuff I think aesthetically is very pleasing, and everything she's going towards is kind of, subverting expectations, but also, like, conquering them, just being able to kind of move into every kind of,
Jake.
uh, visual space, I think, very fluidly.
It's so funny you said that because we'll see this in her chart because her moon is conjunct Uranus. And when you said about subverting expectations, she surprises people. You know what I mean? She
Yeah.
comes up with this stuff. You're like, what? You know what I mean? So yeah,
Wow.
it's just
You know what, mom? Despite all efforts and stuff that we've done typically to make sure that we've got the show rocking and rolling, I do not have an image of her chart.
oh, I
Did
sent
we
it
have?
to you.
Did
I
you
sent
send
it
that
to
to
you.
me?
Yeah, it's in the in your messages.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna need you to vamp a little bit because I gotta go
Okay.
find it. So sorry about
Oh,
that.
okay. It should be
I
in your
will go grab
messages.
that
I
right
can go
now.
back and find it. Okay. Well, okay, I'll talk
Well,
about
I'll
it.
go find it. I'll
Okay.
we'll make
It
this
should
happen.
be
So I
in your messages
apologize,
because I
everyone.
sent it. I sent it in the night one time when you were probably out or whatever. So
I was probably
okay,
out being a crazy Pisces. So I'll
that's
just
all
go
right.
ahead and throw this Virgo's image of, I think this is a
Yes.
great
Oh,
little
that's
meme that people
beautiful.
had up here. Here,
There you
let me zoom this out a little bit. There we go.
go. Okay, so one interesting thing is it would be very easy to talk about her and Jay Z because they're very famous. But what I wanted to do because her birthday is so close to the day, it's something we have not done on Stars Align yet, and it's one of my favorite charts to do for people is your solar return. So because her birthday is coming, if she was my client, I'd be like, well, hey, Beyonce, let's do your solar return so we can see where your energy is this year. So let me clarify this. Okay. When you have your chart, it's the day you're born, right? It's a blueprint of your life. When you look at transits, you're like, this is your birth chart, and these are the energies of this year, where they're landing and what planets they're aspecting. Okay. A solar return chart is as if you were born this year. It's a temporary chart for this year based on your birthday. So, but what's interesting about a solar return is they take, for every day that you've been alive, they move it one day forward. So, for example, I was born on January 18th, but my if we add one day for every day I've been born, it's as if I'm a Pisces now, and my birthday is March 12th. So it's an interesting thing. So you'll see she's still a Virgo, she's still all those things. But if you see on the solar return chart when we get to it, the dates will seem weird and you'll be like, what's this about? And you have to pick the place where they live now. Like, for example, she was born in Houston, Texas. So that's her natal chart. The first one we'll see is based on her Houston location. But we know she lives in LA. So her solar return is based on Los Angeles. So, Jake, were you able to find it? No big deal. I can
Yeah,
send it
I
to you.
actually you gave me
Yeah.
2 of her charts and I just screenshotted the wrong one. So hold on,
Okay.
you'll have to
Okay.
continue to vamp.
No, 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 that's okay. So anyway, I just want to tell you. So that's what we're gonna do tonight. Is we're gonna do a quick thing of her birth chart. Easy. Doesn't have very many aspects. I mean, she's just solid. She's solid gold. Um, and then we're gonna do her solar return, which is a little more. There's a lot more going on, and because everybody's got a lot more going on, so the things we see in her chart are the things we have, but we just have them in different houses compared to her. So this is something, and then this will lead into the astro weather when Jake goes to do get ready for his set. I'll be talking about a lot of how it applies to us. So I think it's really fun to do this for birth chart, for solar return, which is going to have echoes of what we talk about in the astro weather. So that kind of sets
Okay.
that up, Jake, a bit.
Yes, I am all set up now. I've got a different image of Beyonce up, and when we're ready, I can jump into her natal chart briefly. You said you want to
Yeah.
start with that?
Oh, okay. Let's hold on a little bit. Let's talk a little bit just about general Virgo themes in her
Okay.
songs. So Jake and I
Yes.
talked about this. This is so much fun when we do a celebrity and they have great songs that go with their sign.
Oh, for
So, for
sure.
example, we talked about how Vestal virgins were the original, like, single working women, and like spinsters were the single ladies. And how funny is it that, Beyonce's anthem is all the single ladies, and she's all about knowing what their worth is. You better put a ring on it if you want it. You better put a ring on it, right? So, anyway,
That's right.
yes.
Yes. I mean, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies. Put your hands up. I mean, be accounted for.
Yeah.
Damn it. Um, so I feel like Beyonce is, she's got "Who Run the World," that big track about the queens in the world who run the world. Um, it's very practical. It's like, who runs the world? Who's the service? What makes shit move? What makes it happen?
Hmm.
It's not like who.
It's not the
I don't,
kicking back and you know,
yeah.
point and,
Who
whatever.
tells everyone else what to do?
Yeah.
Girls. No, it's like, no, it's who does it themselves. Girls is what she's
Right.
saying.
And so the
So
lyric, the lyric in that song is strong enough to bear children and then go back to business. Now that's funny. She
mm,
slipped that in there. That song, you wouldn't even know that sentence is in there, but she
that's
slipped
true.
it in there. That's the reality, for
Yeah.
women. Yeah.
Well, and so I also feel like, a diva is a female version of a hustler. A hustler, getting shit done, getting money, making them stacks.
Yeah.
So she's
Yeah.
saying, she's embracing it. I mean, and I feel like, it makes sense that there would be a natural attraction to kind of hip hop and pop and these sort of spaces where there's themes of making cake, getting out there, doing it, shining and stuff, that she would be attracted to the genres that kind of tend to boast those things and to get out there to talk about getting it done and
Yeah.
get her done. So
Exactly.
um
Get her done energy. Yeah. No,
our
you
Beyonce
exactly
queen.
nailed it there, Jake. And again, the funny thing is my favorite song of hers, and again, here we are with the candle. Can we see? Can you see this
Yes,
large halo around the
your
Virgin Mary?
halo,
My
halo. Yes,
favorite
right.
song
Sorry.
is Halo. And there's a part in there where she talks about gravity, about fear. She's not afraid of falling because gravity is just what it is. Talk about literally being down to earth.
Yeah,
Literally. She sings about gravity. Come on now.
that's true. Well,
So,
and it's, okay, so like one of her biggest album most recently was called Lemonade, which has to do with like, when life hands you lemons, you make what? So then the album itself is called Lemonade. This is the lemonade she made of her lemons,
yeah.
with Jay-Z, I think, cheating on her.
Oh my
That
God,
pesky
y'all. You'll see it.
Sagittarius, Jay-Z.
You'll see it. You'll see
and
it in the chart. They have an Aries seventh house. It's just, yeah, it's
that's
tumultuous. But anyway,
interesting.
yes, 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 yes.
And
So
yes, I do have some photos of her and Jay-Z together. There they are.
yeah,
Here they
you'll get there.
are here. We'll get there. But
Yeah,
anyway, so there's them.
she's very beautiful.
Do we want to talk about the shoes now, Mom, or is that something we want to hold on to
Um,
a little bit?
yeah, let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do the shoes because we were talking
Okay,
about Virgos and
so
fashion. Okay.
this happened today, right? I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
literally today.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Right.
just shows you the service we're providing here at Club Stars Line, that we are up to date up to the day of show. We don't have this baked. We're ready to go live whenever we get these screenshots just for you, the people.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit so
So
you can see
going
those
back to
shoes better.
Virgos and fashion, right? Because okay, so they're trendsetters, right? And they're very much on point. So she just so happened to be wearing these pink pumps, right? Well, they're not just any pink pumps. They're Versace, right? And those pink pumps
Ooh.
are $1,200. Sales of those pumps have gone up 60 something percent in the last 3 days since she posted this on Instagram. She's sitting in a lawn chair, you guys. She's not sitting on a throne. She's sitting on a lawn chair in her backyard wearing Versace. This is so the practical queen. This is so, she's looking fly, sitting in a lawn chair in the backyard with a wooden fence. You know what I mean? And sales go through the roof for these shoes.
That's right.
So,
So our queen knows the deal, and here's another shoe fit pick there,
yeah,
because you
there
gotta
she
get
is.
those fits off, as they
This was
say.
on her Instagram and it just went,
Yes.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah,
So she
looking
gets the deal.
amazing. She's on point. So
On
cool.
point.
So, all right.
Um,
So now that you feel like you have a
here's our
feel for
queen
this,
here.
so yes, yes, for her beauty and her amazingness. Libra rising, so beautiful. Yes, absolutely.
She gets it.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so we're gonna get into the chart now, Mom.
Yeah, let's go for the chart. Okay, so the
All
chart,
right.
it's hard to follow you guys, but we're going to stay on point. Jake's going to zoom in. Okay, just looking at it, you guys, you see the line straight down the middle.
Yeah. Oh
Do you
my
see how
God.
all of her planets are on the left side? So this is one of the things when you look at chart reading, you look at what hemisphere. So even though it's on the left, it's called the Eastern Hemisphere because that's where the rising sign is, right? It rises in the east, right? So all of her points on the left. And the thing is about having an Eastern Hemisphere chart is oftentimes a striking feature is that they're generally the most self-motivated, initiating, action-oriented, and assertive. They're only answerable to themselves. They're very, very independent. And so there's a lot of famous people who have this because they're very self-contained. Another person who has it, and get this, Jake, is Richard
Mm-hmm.
Branson, who happens to own an airline. And what is that airline called?
I mean, it's in the freaking. It's in the paperwork right there, isn't it?
Yes, he owned
Virgin
Virgin
Airlines.
Records, and it's Virgin
Virgin
Airlines.
Airlines.
How
It's right
crazy is
there.
that?
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? He's
That's right.
also, it's funny, he is a Virgo, or no, he's a Cancer actually, but he's Libra rising. But the reason I'm making a big deal out of him is he has a chart very similar to her. So even though he's not a Virgo or whatever, his chart is Eastern oriented like hers. And he and she both have Pluto on the ascendant. So going back to Pluto being powerful, very powerful people have Pluto on the ascendant. The world sees how powerful they are. So I just want to say that. So again, the sun sign is only one of like 50 things you could say about a chart, but it's just the easiest, most accessible thing. So going back to our chart, if you want to zoom in, Jake, to the 11th house.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. 1 second.
Okay, very good. Okay.
Up here.
You see everything's on the left, and then there's the 11th house, and it's actually at 11 degrees, which is kind of funny. So you can see she's sun, it's that circle with a dot in it, and it's in Virgo. The only planet she has in Virgo is the sun. The rest of her planets are mostly Libra. So even though we're highlighting her as a Virgo and she's the queen, she's got a lot of Libra energy, and it's in the 12th house of Pisces. So she's kind of Piscean. She's a lot like Rihanna. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy there. A lot like Cher. A lot like we're seeing these trends. The more we do these celebrity people, a lot of people, because that's where your creativity is. That's where your subconscious is. She's got a stellium, which is like another star. So another star is a worth of energy in that 12th house where she can just draw from the muse, right? Okay, so if you want to squeeze down in there, Jake, maybe just, I think you're pretty close, but you guys can see the 12th house. If you want to point to each, right, so she has, if you don't mind pointing to each planet, Jake, and you just point to it and I'll say, okay, so she has, very good, Mercury, communication. So she's got Mercury and Libra. So very balanced, very beautiful, aesthetics, da-da-da. And also the way she thinks too. Saturn in Libra, again, Saturn is structure. So she's going to do everything harmoniously. It's all, structure, all that kind of stuff. Jupiter in Libra, oh my gosh, Jupiter in Libra is so lucky. Jupiter is opportunities and optimism and luck. So imagine that in your subconscious, all these ideas and all this stuff just flowing through, artistically and aesthetically in Libra, because Libra is about aesthetics. It's ruled by
Mm.
Venus. So she's got all these Venus ruled planets in her 12th house of her subconscious, where she's just channeling all this energy. And then finally, she has Venus itself. Can you guys see that? It's the circle with the plus under it. It's at 20 degrees. Yeah. So she
Yeah.
has Venus in Libra. Okay. It's in her 12th house, but it's almost on the ascendant, right? Okay. So she's got that floating in her subconscious. Now, skipping over the line, you see that thing that looks like a P at 22 degrees?
Yes.
That is Pluto. So she's got this freaking powerful. Let me read what I wrote. What did I say? Whatever. I just anyway. Oh, Pluto and Libra on the ascendant. She has a powerful presence because it's your persona. So she just personifies a powerful woman. So she's thinking about this. Women run the world, and all the single ladies. She embodies that essence about being action oriented and assertive and independent. The other interesting thing about this, though, is it has to do with depth because Pluto rules the underworld. Her, Richard Branson, and Kurt Cobain all had Pluto on the ascendant, and they say there's a hidden depth to their personality. And at some point in their life, there was something major that transformed them, and shot them to superstardom. So we know Kurt Cobain, poor Kurt Cobain, he's a Pisces, but yeah. He worried himself. He had stomach issues and all kinds of stuff, but he was so feeling. So we'll have to do Kurt Cobain's chart at some point. But anywho, so yeah. So yeah, the other thing I want to say real quick, sorry about the Sun in Virgo in the 11th house, was that it's the house of icons and fame. And it's in Virgo, so it's super hardworking, very down to earth. The other people that had their Sun in the 11th house that are famous are Jimi Hendrix, Adele, and Bill Clinton. How interesting is that? It's the house of originality and expressing your uniqueness. And all of them very much are very clear in our heads as being icons.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Okay.
Any thoughts on that? Okay. So let's go back to the
power, service, presidential.
Yeah. There
run
you go.
the world.
Run the world. Oh, run the world. The president runs the world. She's running the world from.
It's right there. Who run the world? Bill. Who run the world?
Adele.
Well, Adele.
But whatever.
Yeah.
Jimmy, whatever. They're not really running the world.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to her first house, Jake, where the P is at 22. Okay, see the thing that looks like a sparkler, you guys?
Right here.
Okay, this is again my favorite thing. And when I finally get my channel going, we're going to talk about Juno all the time because I freaking love Juno in romance charts. Okay, Juno is the planet of marriage and commitment. She has it in her first house. So it's part of her identity and persona. She wants to be married. She wants to be perceived. She likes to be married. Okay. It's in Scorpio, which is, Jake, we know.
Very, very passionate.
A fixed water sign, which is an intense emotional sign. Well, let's talk about her husband, Jay-Z, who is a Sagittarius. So he is a fire sign. He probably has a bunch of Scorpio because he's in that section of the... But I don't know. We'll have to go see. But anyway... So she's got it in the first house. So having her partner is a big part of her self-esteem. It's an emotionally intense Scorpio. Her 7th house is in Aries, which is sort of the warrior because it ruled by Mars. So it's kind of combative. And let's talk about the song that she and Jay-Z did together. And what is the name of their song? Crazy in Love.
Crazy in Love.
Doesn't get more perfect than Juno and Scorpio.
Wow.
You are crazy in love.
Wow. They should have named the song Juno in Scorpio instead.
All right. Well, we're going to get to it. Okay, real quick. Back to that thing about her stellium in the 12th house with those 4 planets. Jake, you and I talked about this. Just because she doesn't have any planets on the other side of her chart doesn't mean she needs to still do stuff in those areas of her life.
Yeah, let's zoom out real quick because my God, there ain't nothing on this
nothing
whole other right side of this pizza. You know what I'm saying?
You exactly got it, Jake. Exactly. Wow. So what's interesting is we remember how we talked about Virgo is the opposite of Pisces. So she's got all that pile up in the 12th house. So now she has to do stuff in the 6th house to balance it out. And she has, count them, over 37 charities, you guys. The name of her thing is #BeyGood, BeyGood. And so if you go to her homepage, she's got all these different ways you can donate to different causes that she cares about. So she's definitely balancing out her success and her riches by serving other people. So, okay, and then the last thing I wanted to say is at the very top of her chart. I love the top of the chart because that's what the world sees, especially famous people. It's their legacy. If you guys can see, she's got Mars, which is the circle with the arrow. And then that other little thing is her north node, which is her destiny. Okay, and it's in Leo. So remember we talked about Leo's the star of the show. And there she is. She has Mars at the top. So her sexuality and her hard work is at the very top of the 10th house of her legacy. So yeah, so when you said, oh, Mom, does she have any Leo? Look at her big hair and all this other stuff. Yeah, her sexiness is part of her legacy. She is Definitely got
Interesting.
it out there. It's in the spotlight, fame, all those things. So her North Node was to come into this world to be the queen. So when we call her Queen Bey, Leo rules royalty, right? So her North Node is in her past life, she was Aquarian. She's one of the normal people. In this lifetime, she's the queen. So I freaking
Hmm.
love it. So there's, you know what I mean? We're not just making this up and giving her a nickname for no reason. She's the queen.
Yeah,
It's at the top of her chart. So
she's
for
earned
the
it.
world
I
to
tell you
see.
what.
She's what?
She's
Yeah.
earned it. I tell you what.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now to her
Yeah.
solar return.
Okay, so sorry to get so nitty gritty. I'm going to go fast on this because usually we don't show two charts back to back, but we did do it last time.
My
The
gosh,
solar
this
return is
is
like a
this is
temporary.
across the pizza here. I tell you what.
Yeah, look how different this pizza. This doesn't look like the pizza, the original pizza, does it, Jake?
Sorry, I don't
Really?
mean to make that stick. I hope I
No,
don't need to
no,
call it the
pizza is a
pizza.
perfect way to put it. People understand that. People know the
I
slices
mean,
of the
it's 12
pie.
slices. I mean,
So, Jake,
it's
what's going on with this pizza? There's ingredients all over the
this
place.
Astro pizza. Yeah, I mean, this is a very evenly distributed chart. It
Ooh,
seems like I don't know if
Astro
that's a good
pizza.
the
Yeah,
Astro pizza. There's something
Astro
there
pizza.
with
Can you
that.
see? Can you see? There's a shape. We call that sacred geometry. Do you see the blue triangle that's pointing downward? Can you see it,
I sure
Jake?
do.
You might
Right
want to
there.
point to it. That's
Let's
called
look
a
at it.
trine. So the good thing is, good news for Beyonce is she's got a nice harmonious Earth trine. Okay,
Okay.
which means her Earth energy is going to flow nicely. It's going to flow from her third house because can you see where the sun is when you do a solar return? I just do these quick and easy. We just go, what's the focus of your year? She's got her sun in the fourth house, so she's focused on her home and her security. Okay, now there it is. Right next to it at 23 degrees, she has Mars. So right now everyone's got Mars and Virgo. Her birthday is this weekend.
Mm,
She's got Mars and Virgo. Right. So this energy is going to carry through. Obviously, there's going to be transits and things are going to change, but this is sort of the flavor of the rest of her year. So her Mars is in Virgo, right? So if you follow the triangle, Jake, up one leg of that triangle, the Mars in Virgo goes all the way up to Pluto in
the eighth house.
Capricorn in the eighth house. So let's talk about that. Capricorn, right? Structure. Pluto is transformation of structure in her eighth house of birth, death, sex, other people's money, inheritances, death. So there's a lot of energy. Something's going to happen this year in that area of her life. Now go straight across the pie, Jake, 24 degrees over to that Uranus at 14, whatever. Uranus and Taurus. Everybody's got Uranus and Taurus this year. We
Hmm.
call it earthquake energy because Uranus is sudden change in the most stubborn sign of Taurus. So wherever you've got
Oh.
something's going to get shaken up. And Jake, what is the 12th house, my Pisces friend? The 12th house is your subconscious.
Mm.
So something's shaken this year between her home life, her eighth house, birth, death, sex, money, and her subconscious, all in earth signs. And so it's not like she's not
Wow.
going to notice it. It's not just mental energy, it's physical. Something is going to change. So not to give, you know, our sweet queen, not to scare her, but you know what I mean? There's something just you want to be prepared. That's what these readings are for, is you can work with the energy if I don't sit there and look at my chart every day, but I was like, oh wow, I'm gonna be busy this year. Okay, well, I was busy. So I'm not so like, oh my God, flabbergasted by the fact I was busy. So same
Oh
thing with her.
wow. Queen Bay 420 in the chat just jumped in. She said, "Wow, I can't believe this." So, I'm just Beyonce
One
just
of
joined us
these
on
days,
Twitch. Welcome, Queen. Thank you for
Jake,
being
we're
here.
one chart away from being famous. One of these celebrities is gonna want us to do their,
That's
be
right.
featured here.
I do
So
want to note, Travel Agent Rick did say "shwoo" at one point tonight. So, Mom, you must have said it at some
oh,
point.
my favorite
Oh, your
words
your
right there.
tagline, so your
Yeah, yeah,
"shwoo" tagline. Anyway,
I
that's for the
know.
old one, the old heads, the day one Club Stars line
That's the
folks.
people who've been around since the beginning. That was like my favorite
Yes,
thing to say. Then I got self-conscious
that's
and
it.
I stopped saying it.
So what we get, we make fun of you for it for your
Right.
individuality.
So I could go
Um,
on and on about the rest of the stuff in her chart. So a lot of the things I'm going to say about her chart are in the astral weather. So I do just want to point to one more thing,
yes,
and then we'll move into the astral weather, and then we can get going because we only have
perfect.
like an hour. We got really wordy. Oh, imagine that in Virgo. We talked a lot.
That makes sense.
And I think this is something you can see in her chart since we have a chart on the screen. Do you go back down to the fourth house where you see Mars, right? So Mars is at 20 whatever degrees at the bottom at the fourth house. Okay, right. It's 23 degrees. Okay. Everyone's got Mars and Virgo, right? Now, straight up to the top, there's a red line that goes all the way up to the 10th house. So from the fourth house
Oh, you want to zoom out? Okay, here
to
we
the
go.
10th, we're going to go up to the 10th where you see Neptune, that thing that looks like a trident. Okay, if you
Yeah,
want to
right
zoom
here.
in just a minute.
Yeah.
Right, that Neptune is in Pisces. Okay, so let me tell you guys, it's at 22 degrees. Okay. Neptune in Pisces is the freaking ocean, you guys. Neptune rules the 12th house of Pisces. This is the most Piscean you can ever get. Okay, so this is her 10th house of career. So something's going on. There's something she can't quite see. It's foggy. She's imagining things. There might be something going on. She doesn't have a clear read on it. Okay. And the reason she can't act on it is because she can't see it. So at the very bottom of her chart is Mars and Virgo that likes to get her done, right? But it can't
Right.
because it's in opposition to this Neptune and Pisces. Everyone on the earth this week has Neptune and Pisces. So if you've been confused this week and you feel like I can't get any traction, I can't figure out what the heck to do next, we all have it this week and it goes till Saturday. Okay. After this week, things will get better, but this is in her solar return chart. So she gets to hang out
Oh,
with this
wow.
energy the
For
rest of the
some
year.
time.
Ours,
Yeah.
all the, and it's going to change and evolve. But I'm just saying, this is in her solar return chart. This kind of confusing energy. I heard an amazing, amazing astrologer tell this really cool story, and it was Irish mythology. But he talked about how the Mars and Virgo, remembers like the soldier. Remember we told you Virgo service, the soldier. So imagine a man standing on a beach with a sword, and he's going to fight
Okay.
this enemy. But the enemy he's fighting is the ocean.
Oh my God.
A foggy ocean. So imagine he's standing there slicing at
Oh,
the fog,
slicing. He's just slicing.
right? Slicing at the caps, the waves, the
Oh,
caps of these waves, or
oh,
whatever. He's never gonna win.
no, he never will. Oh no. Help. Someone help him. Beyonce, help him.
Yes. So this is what I'm saying, you guys. If this week you're like, I can't make
Oh,
traction, I can't make anything happen, I don't know what the hell's happening. That's the energy.
wow.
So,
Slicing at the ocean.
so
Now,
I'm
if you're
gonna
a
say,
Pisces,
yeah, so I'm gonna say, and this is a rare thing, you guys. It's very rare because Neptune is not gonna be in Pisces for very long, and then it's not gonna be back in Pisces for a super long time. So this exact
Mhm.
opposition of Mars and Virgo with Neptune and Pisces doesn't happen very often. So it's just a really confusing time for everyone. You know what I mean? So this week, just
Wow.
chill out. Next week,
Everybody
things will
take
change.
a chill pill.
Yes, next week you can plug in or whatever. So I want to say back to her though, is any changes she wants to make, she might as well just chill out because she can't really see where to go next. So, I was thinking since it's connected to her home, is that maybe she's going to stay
Mm.
home maybe more with her kids, or maybe she's just going to take a break from her career, not try to just forge ahead. I mean, she's 40. She could celebrate her birthday. She could just take a chill. She could rest for a little bit. Maybe she'll disappear in the fog for a while in her career
Mm.
because that Neptune is in her career area. So I don't know. When did she just put out her last album, Jake?
I believe her last one was a live album called Homecoming. In like
Oh my God.
2017, 18, maybe.
Homecoming,
Yeah,
fourth house. Oh,
there it is. Well, and actually, Mom, we clicked on it earlier. This is actually the album cover for it. This very picture actually.
oh, cool,
So if you zoom out,
Jake.
you can see it says "Oh
Well, you know
Homecoming"
what?
there,
Is
the
that
live
the
album.
perfect opposition? She doesn't know what to do. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hands on her head, like what to do next.
What to do next? It's right there. She had it. she
So,
already knew.
in a nutshell,
There you
go ahead.
go. Well, actually, I'll say she did do the Lion King soundtrack when it came out. So the Lion Pride, the Leo
Hmm.
aesthetics,
Hmm.
service. I mean, it's right there. The service of a
Yeah.
lion's pride.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. There you go. Exactly. So, all
Oh
right,
my
Jake.
God.
All right, are you ready to hit it? We got an hour, I guess, to do both your sets.
We do. I mean, do you need to do your astro weather
Yeah,
though,
I'm
right?
gonna. So, what are you gonna be? You got like 10 minutes here, or five?
Yeah,
I
I'm
can
gonna
do
take
this in five
a
minutes.
quick 5-10. Got
Okay.
us back to our imagery here.
Okay.
We'll cut to just my mom here in one moment. But again, everyone, thank you for watching. You are watching Club Stars Line, the Virgo edition on the travel agency. We will have next our Libra edition, and we've got some special Libras that we'll want to shout out and everything. So I will BRB, and let's go to mom now for the astro weather. I'll see you in a minute.
All right. Bye, Jake. Thanks. All right, y'all. So we kind of already segued into this by talking about Beyonce's chart with the moon, or not with the moon, with Neptune opposing Mars. So, like I said, give yourself a break this week. It goes till September 4th. Something we talked about earlier in the show was that right now in Virgo season, we're in a cadent house. We're in a mutable earth sign season right now. And it allows the ending or the change of the season to go into starting the new one, which is the fall equinox. So this is kind of a big deal. On September 22nd, we're going to move into fall and it'll be in Libra. So the sun will change from Virgo into Libra and we'll be in a new season. So we can just savor these next couple weeks of Indian summer and all those things and just, like doing the work. Think of how like this is being harvest season. Like this is the time when we pick the grapes. Just think grape one by one, pick the grapes, right? And then by the time we get into Libra season, we've done the grape stomping. We've turned it into this beautiful wine. It tastes wonderful. It's ruled by Venus, right? That's what the next season's going to be, is enjoying the fruits of our labor in Virgo, which is an amazing thing, right? Okay, so, but before that, we're in this little kind of murky area with this Neptune in Pisces, the ocean, fog. We don't know exactly what's going on, even though we want to make strides in very get her done energy, Mars and Virgo. So that's just this week. Um, the concept, though, is the reality versus fantasy. So we want to just keep that in our head. This is a great time to go ahead and pause because we don't know what direction to take. Is think about what we really want, fantasize what you really want, and then how do we really want to make it come through? Because on Monday is the new moon when we set an intention. So get this. There's a new moon on Monday, which is a Duran Duran song. So Jake's gonna play this later in the set. So a new moon on Monday. So imagine manifesting your desires in Virgo, because you're gonna want to manifest. You're gonna want to set your intention in a detailed way. Go ahead and write a list. Get the clipboard like my mom and write it down. Dot dot dot. Exactly what you want to do when. Go ahead and set that intention, because on September 20th, when the full moon is in Pisces, which is dreams, our dreams will hopefully have come true. We will have reaped what we sowed. If we plant these seeds now, in a couple weeks, when it's the full moon in Pisces, we can sit there and enjoy the emotional feeling of the success that we've had because we've accomplished what we wanted to do. So I was just saying, just go ahead and get specific. Get the clipboard out. Get your bullet journals out. Whatever it is you need to do to get organized. Don't feel like you're being too nitpicky. Let yourself go all the way there. Since we really can't do anything this week anyway, go ahead and imagine it and write out your list and put that in order. The other interesting thing is too about this reality versus fantasy is because Virgo is ruled by Mercury and its thoughts, we're starting to make realizations. So we might be grieving the loss of the expectations because we're starting to see reality when it comes to certain things. So maybe you had an expectation something was going to go some way, but maybe now that we're down to the nitty gritty and we see exactly what played out, maybe it didn't happen the way we expected it to. So there's that kind of energy going on too right now. So if you thought you were going to accomplish a bunch of things and it didn't happen, you couldn't get it together. No worries, is what we're trying to say this week. Like I said, this can apply to expectations in your relationships as well, because Venus was in Libra right now. So if you thought something was going somewhere and it got foggy, no worries. It will pass. Another part of this Neptune and Pisces is the idea of surrender. Allow it to surrender it to the big foggy ocean out there. Just let it go out there. It'll come back. The tide will come back, and it'll come back in a different form, but allow it to go be what it's going to be out there. Okay. And one of the astrologers said, have faith that when you let this go, there might be a larger mystery playing out. So all that frustration that we felt with not getting the get her done energy, having no way to where to go, release it to the ocean, let it come back to you. Okay. Monday, the new moon in Virgo, new moon on Monday, initiation energy, set your intention. In the fall, we start to focus inward. So it's really good time. In Leo, we were shining. We're like, oh, how do we want to be big? Now we're going to focus on laying pipe, making a foundation. Like we said, the excesses of the summer are going to help us settle into better health routines, both mental and physical. So again, bringing our expectations down. So the big spotlight expectations, bringing it down to the nitty gritty, like we said. This is a great time to set up new patterns because, Virgo is good about patterns, serial killers, just kidding. They like to have things in order. Routines is really what it's about, is setting a routine. Also, right now, both the sun and the moon, okay, so the moon, right, we're going to have this new moon, the sun and the moon are together, and they're trine Uranus. Okay, so Uranus is the unexpected planet in Taurus, which is Earth, right? So we talked about that earthquake energy. So it is an ability to break out of a routine and set up a new routine that actually better serves you. A lot of times, again, because the moon is in Virgo, it might be a mental routine. So this helps you break through a mental pattern, or maybe a negative or critical, because they are so discerning, a negative or critical energy. And so just whatever area that this is being aspected, you are going to start to feel, it will allow you to have progress into whatever area you feel like you were stuck, whatever energy was stuck. So this is coming up next Monday. Okay. The other interesting thing is on this September 10th, Venus, which has been in Virgo. Remember we said Virgo really wants to know specifically exactly what you want and they want to please you. Virgo is now going to enter Scorpio. Okay. So Scorpio is intense and emotional. So we're going to go from this detailed, what can I do, to I'm going to feel it now. So the joke is when you go from a balanced, harmonious Libra, I'm sorry, Venus was in Libra. I'm sorry. The Libra energy was balanced and harmonious. It was all about love. when you go from the balanced, harmonious Libra energy into this intense emotional energy, one of my astrologer people said it's like going from the socialite who's all about love and everything's harmonious to the goth girl, you know. So just you're dating the socialite, but now you're going to go date the goth girl. So that's the energy of the shift when we get to September 10th. Okay. Moving forward, so Venus moves into Scorpio. Mars is going to enter Libra. So Mars is kind of following behind on the 14th. So Mars loves to be in Aries because it wants to use its fire energy to go to war, right? Well, when Mars is in Libra, it's the exact opposite. It's going to do everything in its power not to go to war. It's going to use diplomacy. And how do we negotiate to get our needs met? And get them met fairly, so the scales in the balance. So if you're feeling this energy of like, oh, I want to go do battle, well, no, how about avoid the battle? Let's find a way to avoid the battle. So again, this goes back to all these relationship things. So again, you're gonna have Venus and Scorpio who wants to be emotionally intense, but remember, in Mars, you don't want to act on it. You want to avoid the battle. Yes, honor those feelings that are going to be coming up, but avoid the battle. Okay, so then on September 20th, we will have the full moon in Pisces, right? So the sun in Virgo, full moon in Pisces. And by then, your intentions that you set on Monday should hopefully be coming fruition. And you can think back to yourself, how have we healed from all these things, right? Have we done the work? Have we really looked at ourselves mentally, the patterns, our thought patterns, those kinds of things? Have we changed our thought patterns and our expectations? And are we harvesting what we've sown emotionally? There we go, full moon in Pisces. Hopefully maybe you'll go through therapy this week. You know, Mercury rules mental health, right? Or rules in Virgo, rules mental health, and it will produce an emotional result if you do the work and examine your thoughts and thought processes. So, and your routines. Okay. One last thing is we're going to wrap this up because Jake looks like he's ready. So Mercury, our thought processes goes into Libra on Monday too. So which is really cool. Monday's a big day, you guys. And it's going to go into, again, this balanced, harmonious thought. So that will help you with the relationship stuff. But then at the end of the month, it goes retrograde. So this year, there's always 3 retrogrades a year. All 3 of them have been in air signs. They've all been Mercury, which rules your thought processes, in an air sign. So in January, they were in Aquarius, sudden changes of thought. In the summer, they were in Gemini. So, you know, duality of thought, right? And then now they're in Libra, which is this harmonious balance. So this is actually really a good one. This is going to be hopefully easier on all of us. But the interesting thing is with a retrograde, oftentimes you're reflecting, rethinking, and revising, right? That's what a retrograde is. And if it's in Libra, which is rules relationships, this is probably one of the most prominent times. People always come back into your life during a Mercury retrograde, but this will most probably be either a partnership or a frenemy or somebody that was in your life that was close. And this placement will stimulate a lot of mental rethinking and reflecting. In Libra, it reevaluates partner relationships and it releases what no longer serves you, because remember, the sun is still in Virgo. Is this serving you? So be thinking that. Is this relationship good for me? Does this friend need to be forgiven? Is that what's good for me? Is to forgive this person? Do I want to let them back in my life? Those kinds of things. So as always, when there's Mercury in retrograde, you want to watch out for miscommunications. But the good news is when you have Mercury in retrograde in Libra, you can balance your emotions and you can see both sides. So that will be the astro weather report for Virgo. So, all right, take it away, Jake.